Hello, friends. Hello. It is the Team Black preview with featuring Girl Nettles. Hello.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me here. I can't wait to talk about obviously my favorite team. I've got the gear, got the drip. I have some Valerion. It's hard to see, but there's some seashells, some sea. I'm repping Team Black fully.
Yes, you're here. You're here so that it's not just me saying bad things about Rhaenyra the whole time. I'm kidding. I like Rhaenyra. Why do you guys think? No, I'm just playing. No, but for real, you are a bit of a Team Black enthusiast to the extent that you pick sides, right? Or is that?
Um, it's a double consciousness. I've picked a side just because it's a war and you have to pick a side, and I choose Team Black. But I'm here to be entertained. So, like, I can enjoy both sides. If you guys have ever been on my channel, I argue for Team Green all the time. Like, I just argued for Kristen Cole over Jon Snow. Like, like
Well,
it can
Nettles,
be done.
entertained. You're here to be entertained and to be entertaining. Let us all take a moment to
Yeah.
again applaud your performance because fully half of the comments on the Littlefinger stream are, oh my God, Nettles. So well
Thank you
deserved,
guys.
well deserved. I am not at all envious or jealous or threatened in any way by most of my YouTube comments being about you. That's fully what I invited you on to do, was to kill it, and you did absolutely eat and serve and all those things. So we really do appreciate it. It was a lot of fun to be a part of that. So just want to acknowledge that real quick.
Thank you. Thank you,
Yes.
chat.
You are awesome and everybody loved it, bringing the story to life. That's really what we're here to do, is
Yeah.
further immerse everyone in the world, give us all a little chance to spend a little more time in Westeros. So we
Yes.
definitely went to Lysa Arryn's cold hall in the Eyrie and said goodbye to her out the moon door there. It was a lot of
Bye
fun.
bye.
Shout out to Tim with the Peter Baelish and
Yes.
Marillion, hey Nani Nanis, and yeah, and
Yes.
and, and, and my poor attempt at Sansa. In any case,
I
uh,
liked it.
I do want to begin. So we're going to go through all the characters of Team Black, and we're going to talk about their basic struggle and where we left off and just what they'll be doing this year. We will have a poll question for you all, the live chat for every character, so we can get you all involved. Tried to come up with some good questions beforehand with Maynard James Plum, who is behind the scenes and ready to drop the polls in like fish food to the tank. And we are the fish. So you're the squishers anyway. Hey, that worked. That was amazing. And of course, YouTube channel member squishers, don't forget you can drop a free super chat message once a month. You've got the emojis if you want to be part of that. Click the join button. And yeah, and then, oh, last thing. Okay, so let's begin with a word about killing people with swords. Because
Okay.
Nettles, I was over at my friend's house last night, and he had the Valerian steel ice,
Ooh.
the ridiculously oversized ice, nearly 5 foot long blade. And let me just tell you, oh, no spoilers. I should say that. This will be a no spoiler stream. We will very gently talk around, like, oh, there's
Whatever.
something coming for this character, but yeah, we're not going to spoil anything. So no. But so, okay, so listen, Ned's sword. That's the great sword. It is way too freaking big. I could barely lift it. Like, I could lift it, but I could not swing it meaningfully or quickly at anything. And even the long claw, which my friend also had because he has two swords. And that was still like, you have to have two hands on it. And I felt weak. I was like, I need to do push ups in order to really be effective with this. So then when you start to think about knights wearing 50 pounds or so of armor, and
Metal.
they're
Yeah.
trying to swing these things again and again and outlast people, you really start to understand how much strength and endurance and training is a part of swordsmanship, one. And two,
Yes.
like just the awesome deadly power of a knight like Dunk or Gregor or the Hound in armor with this giant sword that they can swing quickly at you, like
Yeah. We
holding up a
underestimate them.
shield
We'll
and
never
trying to
know.
block it just seems like really not a good, I don't know, like yeah, this is when you talk about Arthur Dane and all these people, just yeah, I was overcome with how weak I was compared to these type of men. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, it's I don't nothing's impossible, but it's almost impossible for us to fathom like living like that, being waking up with a body that's able to pick up this sword just because we have guns, you know. Part of me
Yes.
wishes sometimes that we would have stayed with swords, especially when it comes to warfare. But I also have long claw. I'm looking at it now, and yeah, it is huge. It just hangs on my wall.
And so, right. And so the mystique, you are start to understand the mystique of the sword fighter and the knight in armor. Like, it really is a terrifying thing. Just real quick, I have some swords here. So, I have this katana. Now, a katana is also a two-handed sword, but it is pretty light. It's meant to
It's
be
very
pretty
light.
agile. Okay?
Yeah.
You could sort of wield it with one hand, but not very well, and it's very bad form. You should never. You just look like an idiot.
Yeah.
You have to have two hands on the katana. But this is maybe like half the weight of Long Claw that I
Yeah.
held. Like that was a
Yeah.
lot heavier, and ice was fully. It felt like trying to swing my bass guitar at people or something. It was insane. So let me just put this down. But I thought I'd get a little kinetic today and just talk about swords. So there you go.
I wanted to show my long claw. I can't even sit down.
Okay.
Just the hilt is like where do you even grasp? It's insane.
Yeah. It's big. You can see it keeps going. Like it's huge. Yeah, and thanks for having a theme appropriate sword. I only have Foam Keeper. That's foam Oath Keeper back there. It is very easy to swing.
I
But
have already
yeah,
attached
so
too. That is heavy. The cat's paw dagger is heavy and huge as well.
yeah,
But
you can carve somebody up pretty good with that for sure.
yeah. But back to the theme, I would always be way more impressed with someone who fought someone with a sword, whether it's 1-to-1 or like taking out 10 people, than someone who points a gun and shoots it. Sorry, there's a lot involved in pointing a gun and shooting it, but do you know how hard it is to kill someone with a sword? Like you might be able to cut them, but that doesn't kill them. You have to cut them a lot or in strategic places quicker than they can cut you in order to actually kill them.
And of course,
Like,
just to reiterate, we do not endorse violence, of course, on this show
no.
or
No,
anything
no, no,
like
I'm
that.
just
But
saying,
just in the
which
pretend
is more
world,
impressive? Yeah, to me. If the question is what takes more intrinsic knowledge, strength, everything, it's going to be swordplay.
yeah. So there is, like, it's I guess if you go to the Ren Fair and you watch some of those fights, then you can appreciate it a little bit. But yeah, I just thought I'd bring it back to the raw carnal nature of what we're doing here with the swords and the armor and all that stuff. Like it is, it is a different
lot.
world. So
Yeah.
let's go ahead and kick things off with Rhaenyra. So Rhaenyra, I'm sort of the main two things that I want to kick off each character's conversation with is where did we leave off last time, and like what's their main source of conflict going forward. So where we left off last with Rhaenyra is that she first got a proposal from Alicent, the final proposal. Otto delivered it to her, terms or whatever. But before she could really decide what to do about that, she has now got news of Luke's death. And that's where we left off last. She's just heard. We could tell there's all kinds of emotion building. And we can see the shots of, the funeral, looking for his body at Storm's End and all this. So this is going to be a big thing in the first episode, is dealing with Luke's death. And, the thing that really strikes me about Rhaenyra and her conflict is that, Viserys made her responsible for the Targaryen dynasty, which we know is part of that is Aegon's prophecy, as well as just the House dynasty. And now she is trying to figure out what that means. We know that she is cognizant of the responsibility of a ruler. She's not exactly
Yeah.
Daenerys, but she's talking about, hey, it's not my job to necessarily just start a fight for the chair. I've
Yeah.
got this kingdom to rule over, which I appreciated. Hashtag Team Smallfolk. So she is, but at the same time, her throne has been stolen, and part of her is like, hey, you stole my throne, I'm going to claim it. So, yeah, that's kind of where she's at. She's trying to figure out what this responsibility that her father has left her with means in
Yeah.
the context of this civil war.
Yeah, she's definitely grown up, and it's not just hearing her father's words. It's about seeing them play out in real life. Like she's lost people close to her, um, like Lena and Lenore and things like that. So she's grown up and kind of like she's not impetuous anymore. She knows the weight, the cost of a life. So she can quantify that and be at this moment team small folk. But you were asking where we last left her, and the last thing we saw is her face turning from sadness to anger. So I think all that diplomacy and all that stuff you just talked about is out the window because of that last face that went from sadness, which is a big emotion, to anger, which is another huge emotion.
And it's really interesting. I've got a note here that she's got these different roles. She is a queen, but also a mother. She is
Yes.
a dragon rider and a war leader at the same
Yeah.
time. And so, yeah, balancing those things is really going to be interesting for her. And I've got another picture here. So I'm just moving around my windows a little bit. And this is from the trailer. She is, you know, I'm kind of a sucker for any sort of dragon keepers, the dragon lords mounting the dragons, sort of stuff. But yeah, she's stalking somewhat angrily and hurriedly to Cyrax, and we've seen
Okay.
her flying by the God's Eye, potentially up towards Harrenhal, where we know a lot of the action will be this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's in the same situation as Aegon. I always talk about it. The monarch is, they can't necessarily just fly their dragon willy-nilly into the battle, because if they die, the whole thing's over. But they only
Right.
have a few dragons to each side, so you can't hold them back all the time either. So the show has, in general, given most of the dragon riders more dragon riding than in Fire and Blood. We saw this with Laenor, who was involved in the
Yes.
Stepstones War, where he wasn't. We see that Baela's flying Moondancer sooner. Rhaenyra flew
Yeah.
her dragon more. So,
Yeah.
what do you think about Rhaenyra and flying her dragon in this season, and how she balances this sort of war leader stuff, and the good of the realm with her personal grief and rage? I mean, it's really complex for her. There's so many through lines.
Yeah, we'll see. That's why I don't like to even, it's hard for me to guess what they're going to do because this is a show and they could change massive things from the books. Some of the stuff we see Damon doing in the books, Rhaenyra might do those things. You never know. Why not change it? So I hope that answers your questions in a non-spoilerly way of like, I think she'll be doing stuff like that with her dragon. Because why not?
Yeah, I mean, and it's the dragons aren't just used for burning people. The
Yeah.
ability to do reconnaissance, the ability to travel, is an incredible power. I mean, we talk about the Peter Baelish teleporter, but if you have a dragon, you basically can fly from King's Landing to Harrenhal and back in a day,
Yes.
which is not something anyone else can do. So even just that
Exactly.
is a bit of a superpower. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm really looking forward to, given that they have, well, we should say that Fire and Blood does not give us much dialogue. So we could assume that the real Rhaenyra in the book canon probably did think about her responsibilities and hem and haw over all these things.
Yeah.
Fire and Blood doesn't necessarily record all that. So I enjoyed the fact that the show did have her stress the team small folk and the responsibility for rule message. It would almost be kind of unrealistic if she just didn't think about that at all. Like, try to put anybody watching the video, like, put yourself in the situation of actually being responsible. It's easy to sit on the sideline and be like, yeah, use your dragon, burn those, they stole your throne. But like, try to,
Yeah.
you have to decide whether hundreds and thousands of people are going to die or not. You would hesitate. You would think, if I certainly hope you would, you would consider the alternatives. So
Well, imagine that like you're not just hopping on a jet, you're hopping on a dragon. So I imagine like my dragon, every like when I hop on my dragon and I'm happy, I'm able to control it and we could fly to this island, have a picnic, and come back. But I feel like if I'm angry or if I have an intense emotion, I don't know what that dragon's gonna do. And we see examples of this with Drogon, with Danny, Aemon that we saw on the show. So it could also be a thing of like, I don't know what my dragon is gonna do when I go into war. I might go way further than I intend to because I feel it when the dragon's in my head, the rage, the fire. So it's not a matter of like, oh, like when people sit at home, oh, just go hop on your dragon and do this. It's like, well, no, it's an animal. Like when you take your dogs hunting, do you always know what they're gonna do? You know, it's a magical animal.
That's a great point. And also, if I could just politely request a little bit less caps lock in the chat, just real quick, guys, thanks. Except for the ones that are like Nettles, those are okay. But the rest of it, if we could just make our point without caps lock. And I will say that yes, every Targaryen, like, we're doing sort of like fantasy world psychology here, so don't take this too literally, but the Targaryens have a dragon nature. The dragon nature is fiery and wrathful and stuff, okay? So
Sometimes, or lustful.
right, carnal, yes, fire, things that you associate with fire, passionate, maybe is the overarching term, umbrella word. I got some all caps hey nani nanis now. April, I'm talking to you, April, please. Just
Dang.
you're very intense right now. If we could just yes, Rhaenyra should have stayed in King's Landing, but the Greens did steal her throne. That was not lawful. So
Yeah.
that is a theft. It is
How do you
complicated, but it is a
compare?
theft. Also,
Sorry.
also, real quick, Nettles, I'm sorry. We are
No.
sort of adopting the Team Black like if we're talking about Rhaenyra, we're mostly adopting her perspective. Like from her
Yeah.
perspective, on one hand, the Greens stole her throne, and on the other hand, do I really want to go to war to claim it? Like that's her conflict. So that's kind of where I'm coming from.
How far? Yeah, yeah.
But yes, she should have stayed in King's Landing. You are right.
How do you compare the wolf's blood with the dragon blood?
Similar.
You said
It's
the
the same
dragon
idea.
blood- Yeah. Do you think it's like a hereditary thing that like, okay, this specific gene is passed on to like, skips a generation or like whatever, or every single person that rides a dragon is part of the dragon blood?
It really could just be Martin imitating the way that like before science, people had folkloric explanations for stuff. And these are just more hot-tempered people and more cold and calculating rational people. And every family has a couple that are live wires and a couple that are more mellow. And so in the Stark family, they call the live wires wolf blood. And, with the Targaryens, it could be a little more simply because they actually do have reptile blood. They have dragon DNA inside them. It's magical. So
The
How-
Starks might have wolf blood. They might have a feral animal.
well, no,
in
that's
their
true.
lineage.
Good point. It is basically the same. They have green
Yeah.
seer and skin changer connections going back thousands of years. We should probably assume that like the evolution of the Starks has been shaped by their having so much contact with wolves. So maybe that's actually, you're probably right about that. That's probably what Martin is implying.
Someone boinked a wolf like a long time ago. Like
Yeah.
that's what's in my head.
No, I think you're right. See, I don't always argue with Nettles, guys. You're right, Nettles. Nettles is right. Got a few of those
Anyway.
comments too.
Oh man. Oh, man.
All right. No,
You
but
know,
in all seriousness, I do have you on here. Part of the reason I enjoy having you on is because you have your own thoughts that are different from mine. And
Yeah.
it's like more entertaining to have other ideas than just one person's ideas. So that is obviously part of the thing.
oh,
Girl
yeah.
Nettles emoji when? Oh, I am so behind on the emojis. I'm going to make a note of this right now. Maynard Plum, this is me making a note. Maynard Plum, remind me to update our emojis. We need a Tim and a Nettles. We need Tim's cat. There's a couple
David.
things we need. So let's launch the poll question, Maynard Plum, while I have your attention for Rhaenyra. The question is Rhaenyra more motivated by serving the realm or claiming the throne? If you have to pick, would you say that she is more motivated by serving the realm, the weight of the prophecy, the responsibility, or is it more now about claiming the throne because it was stolen? So either serving or claiming, those are your choices. It's obviously there's a bit of both, so you have to decide which is more dominant going forward, I suppose. I'm not even sure how I would vote. This is a tough question, isn't it?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I voted claiming, but my real answer is both. It can be both. Because she thinks claiming the realm is serving it.
Let me just adjust this so we can see the results on the screen as they come in. Perfect. So running at about 64% for claiming the throne. 86 votes, so we'll just give a little more time for everyone to vote. We've got how many people watching? 349, usually about half. It's same as in the elections. About half the people usually vote, and half are content to watch and see the votes come in. But yeah, put in your 2 cents here, guys. Now's your chance.
Now's your chance.
65-35. I think that might be indicative. I might call it like closer to 50-50 as of the end of the season, is suspecting that it's tilting more towards claiming the throne going forward.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Because in her head, she's like, me claiming the throne is doing what my dad said, and so that serves the realm.
Cool. Well, I think that's a pretty good split there. Someone says they want to vote Kanye. No, you can't vote Kanye. So we're up to 144. It is holding steady. Okay, we got a little more towards serving. Got a couple of points. It's 36-37. Can I vote RFK Jr.? You shouldn't.
Oh my gosh. Don't split. Don't
It's not
split.
really a reason to. All right, well, we'll go ahead and we've got 153 votes. We'll call this 64-36. Thanks, guys. Good job. So, yeah, I think it will be, I think there's definitely enough of a conflict here to where Rhaenyra will be balancing. She will find herself, there will be more moments when she will hesitate and be like, should we do this more aggressive thing? Is there a chance to make a peace offer here? Should we do this more ruthless tactic? We know what Daemon's kind of going to be pushing for, so the vote was rigged. I demand a recount. Okay, we've got all the voting things here, all the talking points.
I have PTSD. I can't laugh about this.
We're both old enough to have been through some rough elections, so.
No.
Okay, yes. Daemon.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Daemon Targaryen. Let me update our picture here. This guy, Daemon. All your house burns.
Yes. In defense of Daemon, he does make some political moves. He's not always fire and blood. Isn't it his suggestion for the dragon seeds? Wow. I forgot my own.
Is that Jace's idea or is it Daemon's? I thought it was Jace's.
Jace definitely brings it up. There's some other ones where he said no. Actually, on the night he says it'll be the War of Ravens first. Isn't that his quote? Let's get the lords on our side.
I think that is Daemon. Yeah, I think it is Jace that has the idea for the dragon seeds.
Okay, dragon seeds. Okay.
I just like how I said, and now let's talk about Daemon. And you're like, in defense of Daemon.
No, because you were the last thing you said.
I know, but it's just if I put bookmarks on this video, it's going to be funny. So with Daemon, where do we leave off? He's ready to kill some High Towers. And by High Towers, of course, I mean Team Green. They are part Targaryen. I'm not trying to do some weird thing there, but just so the Team Green, he's ready to kill them. And certainly Otto Hightower or any other High Towers. His conflict is mostly resolved in that now we're going to war. That's what he wanted to do. So now it's down to teamwork with Rhaenyra. And I talked about this in the Daemon video that I did. It's basically like him and Viserys didn't really work together very well. You can kind of blame it on both of them. They're going back and forth, not trusting each other and hurting each other's feelings. And Otto is driving a wedge, and they had different complementary skills that ultimately they did not, for the most part, use in a cohesive teamwork kind of fashion. So I say the question going forward is, will Daemon and Rhaenyra do better at this? And this is what I was talking about in the video. We've seen there's some tension. Obviously, the neck grab got the attention because it was a physically violent act. But setting aside that part of it, just it's indicative of the fact that that Daemon is pretty much fully committed to killing the other side, and he's very clear about that. And Rhaenyra is balancing many more factors, as we just talked about. So how much will Daemon be pulling against Rhaenyra? He did, obviously he knelt to her and crowned her. There is a submission there, but it's also a challenge. He grabbed her by the neck. So it's like, how's that going to go? Go ahead. Your thoughts.
I always say that Daemon is a family man. He loved his brother. That's why he never usurped him, even though he had the chance. Even there might have been something inside of him, like the same thing that's inside of Aemon, that's saying that crown will look better on me. I should have that job. But his love for his brother overrode that, if that feeling was even there. And then the same thing with Rhaenyra. I think it was like love at first sight for him. He liked her when she was underage, and he fought the feeling until she was married and overage. And then he was like, fine, it's proper for me to have her, because he just loves his family. Like, metaphorically, like, he loves being a Targaryen. It's like, damn, I was born into the perfect family. Like, he loves it. But then, like, also his immediate family members, his brother and his niece, the ones that are left, because this line has dwindled from Jaehaerys' 13 kids to Daemon, Viserys, and Rhaenyra. That's it. Where's everybody at?
Yeah, Rhaenys and her kids too. But yeah.
Okay, Rhaenys, yeah, definitely. But I mean, like, full blood Targaryen is what I mean. But so he's a family man. So I think
you're totally right. They have fewer dragon riders overall. They've got fewer,
Yes.
It's only with Alicent's kids that they even had more than like 3 dragon riders, which is pathetic.
Exactly. So like, we're coming from an era of like dozens of Targaryens everywhere you look to like, I can count on one hand. So he loves his family, and I think that what we'll see, and what we've started to see in season 1, is him choosing his family over himself every time.
So yeah, I totally do agree with you. And just to clarify what I said earlier, like, yes, I do think Daemon is 100% loyal, not only to his family, but to House Targaryen and the greatness of Targaryen and what it means to be a dragon lord. Like, that is at the top of his priority chart. And to the extent he gets fed up with Viserys or impatient with Rhaenyra, he's coming from like, you're not doing what it takes to protect our family. Like,
yeah.
So I agree. That's where he's coming from, certainly.
Yeah. People that abuse you, sometimes it's from a place of they love you so much, they can't see you mess up, they can't see you make the wrong decisions, so they abuse you. But that's kind of like how Daemon is. Like, he loves so hard that it turns into massacres, like extreme violence, just horrible things.
And he's also very cognizant of the fact that, like, the game they're playing is a deadly game. You make a mistake, we get wiped out. So he's like, takes his shit very seriously, right?
Yeah. And it makes you wonder, like, how did he turn out like this? He's like a kid from the streets, but he grew up with a golden spoon in his mouth. So why does he have like this edge, this Arya-ness to him? It makes me wonder about what happened in his formative years to give him that.
Well, I think it's
like, yeah.
Go ahead. No, I was just saying, I think it's mostly the Viserys thing. Like, Viserys is weak and soft, and he won't let Daemon be his strong right hand to make up for it. And that just eats him up. Like, it's intolerable to him.
Yeah. There are people who don't have to go through like a sob story. Like, they could just be hardened just from their internal struggles, like the conversations they have with themselves, and it changes their personality. Yeah.
And I think George has written him to be archetypally Targaryen in a lot of ways, good and bad. Like, just fully dedicated to the Dragon Lord life, I guess you'd say.
Yes.
So let's go ahead and launch this poll question, Maynard Plum. Will Daemon be a better teammate for Rhaenyra than he was for Viserys, or worse? And your choices will be better or worse. And I saw a couple of people saying the poll questions were not appearing for them. You are probably a few minutes behind. You should refresh your stream, and that's probably why that is happening.
This one's easy. I voted. I'll wait to let people.
You voted better. You voted better.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
And I do think it was likely to be better because, again, him and Viserys, it didn't go very well. And I do I mean, I blame them both, really. Like, Daemon did stuff to deliberately undermine Viserys' trust, and Viserys should have relied on him more right from the Great Council when Daemon helped make him king. So
Yeah.
this has always been an issue between them.
Daemon has done something to scare Viserys. Sorry, that's what it is. But
Yeah.
the real reason
Well,
that,
Viserys is scared of the dragons, period, isn't he?
yeah, like he loves Daemon, but he's like, I'm kind of scared of you. Let me.
Yeah, he rode
um,
Balerion once, and that was enough. He's like, okay, that counts, right? I'm a dragon rider, right? I don't have to do
yeah,
this again, right? Like,
yeah.
Daemon would have been like, okay, well, where's another dragon for me to ride? I need a new dragon.
I'll be three skins or something. I don't know, but but also Rhaenyra and Daemon work better as a team because of the sex. I mean, when you're mad, you could just have you could just
Oh,
have the
that's,
sex,
yeah, him and
and then you
Viserys
get
just
over.
needed to.
With him and Viserys, all you could do is just have sibling rivalry. And like, what do you do to get over a fight with your brother? You throw around the baseball? I don't know. Like,
Yeah, you wrestle or you do something, yeah, right.
but with Rhaenyra, it's better because sometimes you can clear your mind. Like I can imagine Daemon being pent up, frustrated, and he's angry, lashing out. They have sex. Now he can think clearly, and now they can come to an understanding or compromise. It's just a better one,
Just
and they're
real
so
quick,
similar.
just want to give a shout out to Minty Maelstrom, my excellent mod and friend in
Hi,
the chat,
Minty.
dropping all the links, dropping the Nettles links. Thank you, Minty.
But yeah,
So
it's definitely a better relationship.
yes, it will. It's just I think this is the thing to focus on is like how much pull is there going to be between them? How much is Damon on a leash pulling against it, or are they more like going in the same direction? You know. So
What do you think? Do you think there's been a conversation where he says, You're the queen, but I'm the one running things," or do you think what?
in Fire and Blood, it's almost a little more like, and just speaking generally, and again avoiding spoilers, it's almost like he kind of just does his own thing a little bit. Instead, it's maybe like better to ask for forgiveness than permission. I think is something Damon might say.
Okay, yeah, I don't think that. I think that he's so nice that like it goes without saying that like yeah I'm gonna follow you. He's like because people like to talk about what Damon has done, but I see it like what hasn't he done, which is the main thing I keep saying, which is taking the throne from his brother. He could have and he didn't, which means that he's not after raw power. He just wants to feel needed. So I don't think it's a pull of power where like Rhaenyra, I'm the one wearing the pants, even though you have the title. I think it's a thing of like I love my family. I love you so much. I see myself in you and I want you to succeed. How can I help? Use me, use me.
So I think they would just disagree on strategy.
Strategy.
Yeah, like just at
Yeah.
some point, if Damon thinks something is a good idea and Rhaenyra doesn't, how do they handle it? That's really all I'm
Like
saying.
he
I do
pulls
think they
rank.
have the same goals mostly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and Seth, this is not a Team Green video. The Team Greens are very interesting. I have a produced Team Green coming, Seth, this week, and it's called Who's in Charge? Because there's like 6 people on Team Green that think they're in charge in some fashion or another, and they are very interesting. So, Nettles and I will also do a live Team Green discussion like this as well. But since I have the produced Team Green coming this week, I figured we would do the Team Black today.
Definitely.
And we are all hashtag Team Smallfolk. We know that. All right, so this poll has come out with 179 votes that it will be better. How much better, I guess, is the main question. So thank you, chat.
Yeah. And, going off of like just thinking about where Damon left off, he's ready to work for his family. He's needed. He is very much needed. He needs to do something. He's got to mend Rhaenyra's heart so that she can be level-headed to go into the war. How can he do what gift, if we're going to summon disgusting Euron Greyjoy from the show, what gift can he give Rhaenyra that's good enough to mend the hole in her heart so that she can be level-headed to move on, He has to mend her heart, so do the emotional thing, and then physically, he's got to rally the troops. Now he has to win. They hit first.
Yeah, I do think that like we should see prime Damon in the sense that he's mostly been held back from being the full Dragon Lord that he wants to be in his heart. And
Yes.
now he'll mostly be empowered to do that. So we should see all of his skills coming to the foreground. It should be a pretty strong Damon season, I would think. They will
Yeah,
all be
ready to
strong Damons. Matt Smith just, there's no other way it could be, but all right, so let's go ahead and talk about Rainey's. Princess Rainey's.
Ooh,
Grandma
baby.
Princess. That's her. And
Grandma Princess.
Grandma Princess. Yeah, it's kind of like when Pod calls Brienne Sir Milady or something like at the same time. So Rainey's, we left off with her kind of having just decided to help Rhaenyra. If you remember, Alicent, when Rhaenys was in King's Landing, Alicent was kind of leaning on her like, "Hey, what has allying with Rhaenyra ever done for you? Right? You know, your son's been cuckolded and he's dead, and your daughter's dead, and just hasn't gone well for you, really." And she says, "Well, the word of House Valerian, it isn't fickle." And then of course she breaks out at the coronation, decides not to nuke Team Green, flies back to Dragonstone, and everybody had such a big problem with that. I forget where you went down on that one, but what I think the writers were trying to communicate with that is that Rhaenys is not someone that is going to take. She's not going to do Rhaenyra's job for her. She is not going to take on the burden of becoming a kinslayer and a butcher in order to win Rhaenyra's war for her. She just wasn't ready to do that, especially at that point. Like Rhaenyra had a choice still of whether or not to go to war. They haven't had a war council. So in a way, like it would be reaching for Rhaenys to do that. If she came back to Dragonstone and be like, "Oh, I just wiped out all of Team Green." And she's like, "I wasn't even going to start a war." Like,
Like, I don't want it.
right. So whatever you think of that, I think that is what they were trying to communicate is that Rhaenys, she is on Rhaenyra's side, but she has her own independent thought. And she doesn't just go along with whatever's happening. She has perspective, she has wisdom, and she has a lot of steel. And so she is an interesting person as far as like the influence that she will have on Rhaenyra. She is the only person in the family that is older than Rhaenyra, besides Daemon, that Rhaenyra can turn to for advice. Because Daemon is like her partner. She might need advice about how to deal with Daemon. Rhaenys is the only person that can do that. So besides the fact that she is a dragon rider and one of obviously an experienced dragon rider with a huge, fierce dragon, Meleys, her main role is this experience and this potential like Rhaenyra coming to her for advice or counsel, and then it gets to, well, what is that advice going to be, and will Rhaenyra listen to it? So what do you think about that dynamic?
I mostly agree, but I have a question for you. Why do you think the reason is that Rhaenys didn't bow to Rhaenyra at all? I think there was two different ceremonies where people bowed, and she
She's
didn't.
just sort of gave her the polite nod instead of the bow. Yeah,
Like,
it
I'm
was
not
like
against you, but I'm not gonna bow, bitch. No, I'm
it
sorry. I
just
don't.
again it reinforces her independence and like her own. She's not fickle, but she isn't like she's not like, "Oh, I might switch to Team Green," but
No,
she might abstain, or she like you need to earn her support
like
and
they're
her
earned.
agreement.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. That's all I wanted to add is like just that move right there kind of shows you her two naturedness, but not in opposite ways, just in complementary ways. Like I'm
Well,
not
what
against
about?
you, but show me.
Go ahead.
That's it. I said she was yeah.
What about her and Corliss? Because we've also seen them disagree, and we've seen that Corliss can be a little foolish. He can have these illusions or delusions, and Rhaenys
Yeah.
is kind of always pokes him.
Yeah. It makes me just sad because a lot of people say that they're the best relationship, but there's a very big wall in the middle of their relationship. Everything could be going great, but it's the fact that, I mean, I agree with Corliss when he says that history remembers names, not the people. Like I agree with him. Like I don't care. Let's carry on our legacy. Let's end off strong, however way we can. Um, but that's a big philosophical difference to have, and that's their difference. Where she's like, I don't care about that. I'm just trying to survive now. Just trying to keep our immediate family okay. And he's like, legacy. So you have someone that's thinking long term and someone that's thinking short term. I guess is a way to put it simplistically. Um, so yeah, I don't think what I said all that to say I don't think that they're on the same page, and that is a problem.
I think that the main thing Rhaenys does is she shatters people's illusions. Like anytime someone is saying BS, she's gonna be like, "No, that's not why you're doing that." Stuff like that.
Yes.
So it's just kind of her devotion is to the truth because she's just old and smart and she just doesn't suffer people spouting off, false rhetoric or intentions or anything like that. Real quick, Joshua Wright, only if Rhaenyra sent Daemon instead of Lucerys to Storm's End. Imagine the different outcome. Yeah, we might have gotten down to it much quicker.
Ooh.
There definitely would have been violence.
Yeah.
But you have to remember they had multiple places to send people. So,
Yeah.
you know, Luke
And it
had to
could
go
have been
somewhere.
peaceful. It could have just been wit and like just an exchange of wit, and then everyone goes home.
It's supposed to him and Aemon to have a little poetry slam. No, I don't think so.
It could have been.
And then Anthony Dedamore, I just want to say thank you and welcome to Squisher.
A rap
Bold
battle.
disorification. And then I got a PayPal asking, how accurate do you think the dragon portrayals are? Pretty accurate. Yeah, we have seen a picture of Sunfire in the trailer. We saw a lot of gold shimmer. So I think they're waiting to do the full Sunfire, like, psh, but like, yeah, it's probably coming. For sure.
I do want to say that I think, as far as Corlys and Rhaenys, that the only thing that has Corlys on Rhaenyra's side is the fact that Rhaenys is on her side. Like if Rhaenys was like, "Fuck Rhaenyra, we're Team Green," I think Corlys would have easily been Team Green. He even wakes up from the his coma and he's all like, "What's happening?" And she's like, we're on Rhaenyra's side." Here's like she kind of like breaks it down from. He's like, "Okay," but so the reason I'm saying that is because if something were to happen to Rhaenys, I think that would flip Corlys' allegiance because I don't think he believes in Rhaenyra. He believes in Rhaenys.
Well, I somewhat agree with you as far as the Corlys is very independent. He's always looking out for his own interests. And we'll go ahead and I've got Corlys up next. Let me do the Rhaenys poll, and then we will get into this question of Corlys and Rhaenyra because you're touching on something really important here. First, let me change the picture. And our poll question is going to be, will Team Black value Rhaenys' input or disregard her? And this is generally speaking, will they listen to her or will they go, thanks, Grandma, we're going to do something else? So.
Parents just don't understand.
They don't. They just,
Let me see.
We got 57% listen to her, 61%. So pretty close poll here. And I know this is a broad question because we don't have a specific issue yet, but it's just as a writer, you can see that this is going to be one of the ways to create interesting, drama here is like people disagree. How do they work it out? We've seen Rhaenys' perspective. Her and Rhaenyra do have an interesting relationship. We saw early on with young Rhaenyra, it was Rhaenys really pouring cold water on her. Like, oh, you're going to grow up and be queen, are you? Yeah, it just works just like that, doesn't it? No, it doesn't.
Yeah. Like you said, she definitely tells you the truth about yourself. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see with her. Well, now we're talking about Corlys now, right?
Well, we will, yeah. So Northern Tommy says it's somewhat of the tragedy of Rhaenys' character that she's usually right but not often listened to. Right, so that's what I was trying to touch on. This will be an issue, and it's a close poll. It's 62 to 38 But yes, with Corlys and Rhaenyra, I was going to say two things in response to what you said. First of all, I don't know that Corlys would be ready to jump to Team Green because he kind of hates Otto's guts. But Corlys is very pragmatic, and he certainly is always looking out for his own interests. The reason why he's always going on and on about stepstones is not necessarily just national security. It's Corlys who uses the stepstones for trade. He makes a lot of money and was losing a lot of money. And he is very ambitious. Rhaenys confronted him on that. So yeah, when we get to Corlys, we left off with him recovering from his injuries. And the question is, will he be a faithful servant, or is he going to be somebody that is more looking to go his own way? And again, I bring up this conversation with all the losses that House Velaryon has incurred. So how many losses, either personal or financial, will Corlys take from this war before maybe he gets cold feet? We know what Team Green wants is for the Velaryons to sit it out, to just not participate. So maybe, yeah,
that's mainly why I said he would be Team Green. Is all Rhaenys has to say is she killed our son. Talking about Rhaenyra, and that would be enough, to make him be Team Green out of spite. But he doesn't. She doesn't.
Right. The Laenor issue that could come back. Maybe there's a witness, or we don't know how they're going to resolve the Laenor thing. Word could get back to them that he's alive, or they could start to believe more that it definitely was her, because they didn't really resolve that. What Rhaenys and Corlys think about Laenor's death. They kind of.
You can't, as a parent or just as a person playing the game, you can't think that all these coincidences are coming together. Yes, Rhaenyra's face looks truthful, but the logic and the facts, it's like, no. But yeah, we'll see. That's why I feel like Corlys is a little bit wishy-washy, but for now, I think he's 95% on the team. He's ready to go. He's willing to give money, ships, whatever you want. This is a good team member to have. He's giving you advice too. That's extra, but he's not charging you for it. He's giving you the advice. So for now, he's on there. But because of Rhaenys.
Right. So we can see that this is every ally is in this, like, it's not just about, oh, you swore your oaths, you're on my team, so that's good. We're all on the same team. Like, no, everybody's got their own interests and their own lines that if they get crossed, So let's go ahead, Maynard Plum, and put this poll up for Corlys. Will Corlys be a faithful servant to Team Black, or will he go his own way on some issue? So you can vote for faithful servant all the way, or that on some point he might go his own way. Let me say faithful servant of Team Black. That essentially means Rhaenyra, Rhaenyra and Daemon.
Let's see.
Go his own way at 65%, 60%. Swinging around here. This is another close poll. I think I did pretty good with these poll questions, me and Maynard Plum. And obviously, there could be spoilers in the chat if you're watching this. It's just, I can't control what's in the chat, obviously. And this is an adaptation of a published work, so,
The chat is dark and full of spoilers. What's everyone saying? Okay, go his own way.
So we've got about 70% that think at some point Corlys might go his own way. Yeah. I would probably vote that way too. And it may not be like that he leaves the side of Team Black. It just means that he might withhold his ships from a certain battle or something, anything. Yeah. So
he shows up late to the battle. Like a lot of lords do that. They just show up late. Oh, I thought that was next week.
See, what had happened was the ground was very muddy, just rained, and we just kind of waited out. Omens weren't right. That's it. The omens. So 69%. We've got 131 votes in. Very cool. The late Lord Velaryon. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, it's the winds. We had to row. It was very tiring. And We were becalmed.
Hey, it works. It worked for the Lannisters. You could show up late and still keep your stuff.
Well, Preston Jacobs was analyzing Fire and Blood and pointed out that it takes the Starks a long time to get
Yeah.
down from the north. They don't show up for a long time. Like,
Yeah.
it's definitely a little suspect.
Oh no.
The dragon seeds. So, depending on how much time we have, I was going to do a little bit of spoiler talk at the end, and you can't really talk about the dragon seeds without doing spoilers. So,
Yeah.
we might touch on that at the end, but we'll probably do a whole thing with the dragon seeds on a different day because there is a lot to talk about there, isn't there, Nettles? Mm-hmm. And I'll probably grab some artwork and notes from Fire and Blood so that we can compare like what we know about that. So mostly we'll do dragon seeds on another day. Some people are very confused, but hey, it's no spoilers, so you'll find out. It's a thing. It's a thing that happens. Cool. So we'll go ahead and end this poll. We're looking at 68%. Yeah, I think Preston's coverage of Fire and Blood is really good, by the way. For the record, I've watched most of his videos on Fire and Blood. Just sort of a slow, close reading of the text. Let's see. Can we make the stream last until 10:30 Eastern? Oh, man, I'd have to do time conversion, so probably not, but I'm not sure, really.
So I don't doze off.
Just gonna go.
Set an alarm. Set an alarm.
Playoff hockey. His nerves are on edge. He's got time to kill. Okay, so, and then of course we have seen Corlys in the preview. He's got the cane status. He's doing the cool rich guy with a cane thing,
Oh, wow.
which I dig. And he's telling Rhaenyra, we got to cut off the head of the snake. Everything's, snake metaphor for the sea snake. So he talks about snakes and ships. That's it. Those are his metaphors. And you got to cut the head off the snake. He's probably talking about Otto. You think? Is he saying we should assassinate Otto? Is he saying we need to kill King Aegon? Is he talking about Aemond and Vhagar? Who's the head of the snake?
He's been in a coma, so who's giving him information? Like, how does he know whether? Because I would say Aemond is the head of the snake because he writes Vhagar and because of his intellect. But but he's been in a coma, so he probably doesn't know that Aemond has taken over. So maybe it's Otto.
Well, I assume he's caught up now. By the time we see episode 1, he will be caught up.
I would say Aemond or Otto for me. That's who I would consider the head. It should be Alicent, but sorry, girl.
I think to Corlys it will be Otto because that's been his adversary for like 2 decades. So
Yeah.
that's probably who he's talking about. Yeah, so I wonder if he's saying let's go assassinate Otto.
Yeah.
That'd
You
be
just said
interesting.
2 decades, and that brings up the point that Corlys has been alive, so he knows that this plan didn't just happen because of Aemon at Storm's End. This has been happening for 20 years of Otto planting these seeds, putting Alicent in the right place, poisoning the minds of this boy. Like, this isn't just a war that happened because of a grieving mother. Like,
No.
it happened when Otto became Han.
It happened when they named Alicent's first son Aegon. Really?
Yeah,
Like,
right?
why did they name him Aegon if they didn't want
Alicent-
him to be the heir? That was dumb.
I think there's the dress, Alicent's mom's dress. It's like the Monica Lewinsky dress. Like, there's so many secrets.
You can't, it's a magic dress. Whenever anyone wears it, you can't refuse anything they say. That's what it is. Yeah.
So many young lords and kings on that dress. But
We need the UV light. We got to scan for evidence. So many pale princes, as Cersei
But anyways,
says.
the Pale Princess,
Yes.
not the Pale Princess. So anyway, yeah, Corlys knows this. He knows about the dress.
Oh,
He's
this
Otto as
that's
the
good
head.
work. That was good work, Nettles. That was good work. I can't wait to see full powered Daemon in the upcoming season. Loving all the streams and vids. Yeah, so think about the Stepstones, Daemon. Riding the snake and dealing death. Caraxes foot stomping.
Yeah.
It's
Even killing the messenger, Damon. That's a different type of wrath. When you're killing the messenger, who's actually giving you good news.
Yeah. And season 3 is going to be horrifically violent. Like, whatever they do in season 2, season 3 is going to be just, I mean, any version of Tumbleton, first and second Tumbleton, which is worse than the first. Like,
There's a sequel. For me, it's the fish feed.
the fish feed.
Yeah.
Lots of violence coming in season 3. Anyway, and probably season 4 too, I guess. But all right, a bit of the ultra violence, as they say. Okay, so now this is maybe the most interesting character to talk about, and that would be young Prince Jacaerys, who thankfully has no longer encumbered by that wig. Can let his true locks shine.
Yeah.
So, Jacaerys, we left off that he is obviously stepping up. He is confronting Daemon. And I would say that him and Daemon are developing their adult relationship. Okay? Mm-hmm. You know, Jace is like, my mom said this. And Daemon's like, okay, well, let me show you a little bit about like loyalty and yeah. Some of that, yeah. So like, they're not completely adversarial, but obviously Jace considers himself his mother's primary advocate, and is. And so this is an interesting little ripple that they have added here. There's some of that implied in Fire and Blood, but they've definitely run with this. We saw he was training intensely with Luke, right? Kind of being really aggressive to the point where it's like, hey, ease up. And it's like, oh, well, there is a war coming. You know, it's nearly a man grown. Winter's coming. Come on, Rickon. You know,
yes.
Same energy. Yes. And so Jace is taking on a lot of responsibility. And of course, he's being sent north. And we know that they are going to maximize this plot line with Cregan, with Jane Arryn. They're going to visit the Wall. The prophecy is a big deal. So there's lots here. This is going to be like a Jace season, isn't it?
Yes. I actually just saw this movie, Dr. Dolittle with Robert Downey Jr. Did you know that he made a Dr. Dolittle movie where he talks to animals? Anyways, he does. It's set in England, and Jace the actor plays his apprentice. And I'm like, wow, if they watch this movie, this is why they cast him, because he's showing this full range of emotion of a Stark. Like, I'm the earnest, apprentice, but I'm also going to fall in love, and I'm noble and loyal, and here's some fighting scenes. So he just shows that, and it makes me think that looking at this picture, he looks like Harwin Strong Jr. There's nothing Targaryen about him. Like, you have to put the dragon behind him for me to know he's Targaryen. But that's a good thing, because I'm saying that I think we're readying ourselves when we see Winterfell that not Cregan's dad, whoever's in charge when Jace gets there, it's Cregan. Okay, I thought Cregan was okay. Cregan.
We'll talk about him. He's got a whole backstory. We'll get to that, but go ahead.
But we're thinking, oh, he's going to be the Ned Stark, Jon Snow prototype. But I'm like, I think it's going to be Jace. Jace is the one that's showing, like, giving me Ned Stark vibes, Jon Snow vibes. I'm going to, like, when you don't know who else to look for the moral compass, it's actually going to be me. Because you can't trust what Daemon, Rhaenyra, Otto, what they're doing, but you could trust what I'm going to be doing. So I'm looking forward to that, because I enjoy those characters too that just always do the right thing.
Yes, I think that's a great comparison. Not only does he look a bit like Book Jon Snow might, had we not seen Kit. They are similar characters. They are very earnest. There's no limit to the amount of responsibility they will take on. Jon makes himself responsible for everything.
Yes.
And Jace is much the same way. He's not too young. He's there. He's like, no, I'll do it. I'll take care of it. So you have to admire that, stepping into the void. He sees the need. He wants to step up. And that's why I think that I say that him and Daemon are really developing a relationship. We shouldn't make too much of the conflict. Daemon's going to respect Jace and see this strength and realize, like, this is a good Targaryen lad, despite the locks. Like, this is somebody who is ready to step up and do the job. Yeah, good comparison to Jon. I think they very much have a similar feel. Yeah.
Yep.
So, let me give you this picture. We're talking about going north. So here is 2 shots from the trailer. This looks like the top one looks like some Night's Watchmen and Starks marching potentially north of the wall, I'm guessing. And we can see
Okay.
from the bottom picture that Jace and Cregan do go to the wall and walk the wall like Stannis and Jon. And you can see Cregan's got the Stark haircut. Is a little bit of a bigger dude. And yeah, so this is
Interesting.
going to be just a big part of it. And really, this all comes down to the prophecy. So there's a marriage. Okay, so
You can talk about it. There's not any spoilers because
yeah, that's exactly what I'm trying to think of.
it's a
Like,
pact of ice and fire. Everyone
so
knows
we
that.
know that Jace is being sent to recruit Cregan to Rhaenyra's side, okay? And there is the agreement that is reached is called the Pact of Ice and Fire. Most people will have heard of that. And so this gives us reason to think that the prophecy is discussed here. And there are several points in history that we think the Targaryens and Starks may have discussed Aegon's prophecy. Most notably when Torrhen knelt to Aegon, but probably also with Rhaegar and Lyanna at the Tower of Joy. Those would be the two most obvious places. There's a couple others. This is one of them. And so, yeah, we know that in Hot D canon, Jace should be made aware of the prophecy when Rhaenyra becomes queen, and he is named the heir. Because when Viserys named Rhaenyra his heir is when he told her about the prophecy. So when Rhaenyra is crowned, Jace is now her heir. So at some
Right.
point early in the season, either via flashback or whatever, we're going to see that moment, I think. And so this is the big question. So how much do you think that's going to come up? Do you think it's going to be full bore? Jace knows everything and he tells Cregan everything and they're like, yeah, that's true. We should go to the wall and talk about it.
Yeah.
Or, what do you think?
I think that Cregan tells him his whole long story and it's emotional. My mother told me, and then Cregan's like, "Yeah, we already know that. The North remembers." I think this is a Northern prophecy that they've been knew about for thousands of years, and the Targaryens are just late to the game, like because this must have been maybe something from Daenerys or something. But I think maybe this pact was made during the long night or after or something like that, and then the North already knew. So it could be like, if you want to subvert expectations, have Jace tell him that, and Cregan goes, "Oh yeah, I know, it's written right there on the wall." Like,
Well, it wouldn't be Aegon's prophecy per se, but it could be you're
a
saying
retelling.
the prince of the prince that was promised prophecy, because the prince that was promised prophecy, Melisandre says, goes back to a shy 5,000 years ago, and so it was probably tied to the original Long Night events and stuff, and we know that was around in Valyria. So you're saying you think the Starks will have not only a knowledge of the others, but some sort of something having to do with Targaryens and dragons as well?
Ice and fire, yeah,
Okay.
like the solution or something being ice and fire. And so, yeah, that's just what I've made up in my head. But then I think that, because I think that that's where the North remembers comes from. Because I'm always wondering, like, what does that mean? The North remembers, like, winter is coming is a statement. At least it says winter's coming. Okay, but the North remembers, like, what do you guys remember? The children? That doesn't seem
Old
powerful enough.
secrets, right? Something magical. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but
Well,
we'll
and then
see.
we've got the question: if Aegon and Torrhen discussed it, then Torrhen may have passed down that knowledge to the subsequent Starks, and so Cregan may specifically know about the prophecy and about whatever agreement
Yeah,
Torrhen and Aegon made. So I'm dying for some of that.
I know. But it does get the knowledge gets lost. I think it as the same way it gets lost with the Targaryens that it gets lost with the kings. The
That
king's
could have
soldiers.
happened with Brandon and Rickard, though,
Shipwright.
both being killed at the same time, and Brandon being the older son. Ned may not have
Yeah.
known, or Ned may have been just skeptical,
Yeah, anytime at some point in time, like it has to get lost.
or it could have been
Yeah.
lost. Yeah.
Because think about it, if Rickard and Brandon are away, who is the Stark in Winterfell? Because wouldn't Ned have been
He'd be
returning
the
from
Stark in
Harrenhal?
Winter. Well, none of them were in Winterfell. Yeah, they were all down
Yeah,
south.
he was. They
So
were
I'm
in
not sure
Yeah,
who that would
he
have
would have been
been.
returning from Harrenhal. So it's like, okay, y'all left it. Y'all didn't leave a Stark in Winterfell, or I guess Benjen, but I don't know. Well, no, Benjamin went to Harrenhal.
He was at Harrenhal. Yeah. Probably
It's not
George
for the
didn't think about that, guys. But it is, I guess it's a relevant question. He can backfill it. Well, there's a cousin that we never heard of. Third
We'll
cousin.
see.
That counts. So,
But anyways, yeah. So yes, I agree. I want to see this conversation happen about the Pact of Ice and Fire, and these two stills are giving me good feels.
okay, so let's do the poll question, Mr. Maynard Plum. Will Jace discuss Aegon's prophecy with Cregan Stark? Yes or no? Oh, that's the wrong poll. Okay, we'll do this one. We'll do this one. Keep this one up. Keep that one up. This is the fun question. Will Jace have an affair up north? And your three options are no, Sarah Snow, and Cregan. So this is, sorry, mild spoiler. There's a rumored character called Sarah Snow. We don't even know if she's real. She probably is, but we don't know. It's a mushroom thing, so there could be some. Look, there's a lot of rumors about Jace having hanky panky as he travels through the Seven Kingdoms. We don't know if any of them are true or all of them are true. And he's the Mac Daddy, and he literally banged his way to recruiting Rhaenyra's allies. Like, we'll talk about this in a second. So this is just a fun question.
Swallower through and through.
I'm disappointed. I was sure Cregan was going to win this poll. I'm disappointed in you.
I voted Sarah Snow.
Okay. I do think Sarah's probably real, and I think they will do something with it, but who knows what. So
Yeah.
okay, Maynard, I'm taking this poll down. If we could do the real question, you got 10 seconds to vote. 10, 9.
People are saying definitely Cregan.
31% for Cregan. It's more than no. No's 24, Cregan's 31, Sarah's 45. Okay, thank you. Okay, now Maynard Plum, if we could do the real poll question, I've made two. The real poll question, will Jace discuss Aegon's prophecy with Cregan? Or are they just talking about, northern babes and having dark hair and stuff here?
We'll see. Sorry, this is so funny. Someone said that there is no Sarah Snow, that Cregan just catfished Jace. So imagine Cregan with a wig saying he's Sarah Snow.
I haven't heard that theory. He does a great falsetto, you understand. When he shaves the beard, you never recognize him.
Listen.
Okay. Good job, chat. My faith is restored in the chat. They're discussing shampoo and conditioner here in this picture. No, 90% say it is the Aegon's prophecy that they are discussing. And I did think this was going to be a one-sided poll, but that's to make a point, which is like, this is coming. This is going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
And this is going to be the part of the plot that has the most implications for the book canon and the larger Ice and Fire mysteries of Rhaegar and Jon and all that crap. So expect them to work this angle. He might he might bring the actual knife with him. Somebody said in the chat. I like that idea.
Maybe.
Show him how to heat it up for old Cregan.
It could. Well, yeah. Who knows where that knife ends up? We don't see it again, do we, until Littlefinger?
Yeah, we can assume. Well, we know Robert's got it and stuff, but yeah, I don't want to talk about the idea that it's the same fucking knife. Sorry.
It is.
By the way, our Littlefinger stream was demonetized. One of us dropped too many F-bombs, so we got to not cuss. And I'm a bad boy, but
yes.
I don't know what the line is exactly. So seems like a couple of cusses are okay, but I don't know really. So we'll just, if we could try not to cuss, Dave, if we could. Yeah. Okay.
12 lashings.
Yeah. I need the book. Okay, so this poll is all right. That's that. He might have the dagger. Cool.
Yeah.
So let's go to, well, okay, so we've got Bela and Reyna to talk about, but since we brought up all this Cregan stuff, let's go ahead and skip to Cregan and talk about him because we're already half into it, and then we'll come back to Bela and Reyna. Yeah.
Cregan.
So Cregan Stark is about 22 in the book canon at the time of the war here. He took over when he was 13, his father died and his uncle became regent, but his uncle did not want to give up power when he became 16. And so at 18, he had to lock his uncle up and take power back, which he did. So that is what the chat was referring to. And he has one young son, 1 or 2 years old, but his wife died giving birth. So he is a widower. So it won't be cheating for him when he wears a wig and but he's got one son. And the interesting thing, Aemon the Dragon Knight, who is born after this war, in fact, he grows up and apparently duels with an older Cregan Stark and says that Cregan is the finest swordsman he's ever faced. And that's a
Really?
little bit unusual. Ned Stark is not, he's a great warrior, but he's not necessarily, like he says, Arthur Dane would have killed me if not for Howland Reed. Ned is not at the level of Jaime or Arthur quite. I think we are meant to understand. Cregan is. Cregan is a master swordsman. So that could be something we see even with young Cregan, is that like maybe he'll spar with Jace and like knock his sword out of his hand. You'd be like, whoa, this guy's a badass. Or we'll see him whooping up in the yard, or some Night's Watchman will be impudent to him, and he'll,
That would be good.
yeah, something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if they go north of the wall, maybe they'll get hemmed in some wildling drama, or, who knows?
Yeah. I was just saying, like, in this time, isn't the Night's Watch supposed to be a little bit more of a bigger deal, more funding? They might have like good swords or good training, something like that.
Yes. Yes, there's been a lot of deterioration only in the last 100 years at the time of
Yeah.
the main story. So the watch will be a little better, like, yeah, a little better manned and stuff. Yes, more respected
Yeah.
a bit. Yeah. So we could see ice, certainly. Certainly could, speaking of the oversized 5 foot long sword that it is. We could see that. I probably won't see any warging with Cregan because we're not told that he's kept wolves or anything.
Yeah.
But
No.
one thinks that we might get a sniff of the others or the whites. Obviously, that would highlight the urgency and importance of the prophecy and all that. And they're here at the wall, so it doesn't take, Nostradamus to imagine that they might create a little something.
We'll see. They could go either way. If they don't show anything about that at all, no warging, no whites, I wouldn't be surprised. They could just choose to just focus on like the Targaryenness of it, like,
So
you
what
know.
do you think they would be doing at the wall then? Would they be like going to the library to look up something in the scrolls, or
Could be. Honestly, the wall to me seems like we're in the middle of a war. Like, why are you on vacation? It does seem odd, but it does seem like the kingly thing to do. If the king goes to the north, he might as well, he needs to see the edge of his society. So I think it's Jace being a good leader, showing that he cares about this stuff. But honestly, you came here to rally men. How do you have time to be at the wall? So I don't
he's
have an
probably
answer.
because he's got to do whatever it takes to win Cregan over to his side and convince him how important it is. So this must be
Correct.
part of that. That's why I'm
Yeah.
thinking about the prophecy and things like that. But it could be Cregan saying, you have to come see the wall and pledge to support us. It could be that
Yeah.
too.
So I could trust you. Show me that you care. And I am very sure that Jace is able to do that.
So let me, Maynard Plum, let's do a spontaneous poll question. Whose idea is it to go to the wall? Jace or Cregan? And we'll just give Maynard Plum a second. That is not a pre-prepared poll question, so he will have to type that out with his little Maynard James Plum fingers. Sorry, I didn't mean to imply you have tiny fingers, Mr.
Oh
Plum.
man. Do you want to hear my crackpot theory about Sarah Snow?
And just once again, Maynard, the question will be, whose idea is it to go to the wall, Jace or Cregan? And yes, what's your crackpot idea?
Sarah Snow happens. He even gets her pregnant. But Sarah Snow is going to be like an Arya archetype. So the thing that's going to make her different from all the other girls is she's going to be a fighter. So she's going to go to the fish feed dressed as a man to fight because they need people so desperately. And then they're going to tear out our hearts with another red wedding and show, after we fall in love with her, show her death. And that's what kills the Pact of Ice and Fire.
Wow. That's a whole thing. I like the idea that we've seen that a few times. A woman that poses as a man in order to fight. That would be an interesting wrinkle. And a way that, like, if her and Jace do have an affair, they want to, like, be together. Maybe that's part of it somehow. That's okay. I mean, that's just totally out of left field, but that's pretty interesting.
We need a Brienne. We need a Shadow or whatever. There was another woman who was as good as Brienne in history. Something.
So we've got 78% think that it is Cregan's idea to go to the wall. That is interesting. I tend to think that it will be Jace's idea and that it will be tied to the prophecy as opposed to Cregan and the needs of the watch. But we have 78% for Cregan. Look at that. Grey Waist Tim popping in. Hey, Grey Waist Tim.
Hi, Tim.
What's up, Tim? Tim, by the way, will not be here this week or next week, but I want to tell you how cool Tim is. He is going to a concert next week. It was Social Distortion and just legendary bands. What were they? Social Distortion and Bad Religion. So that's how cool Tim is. And if you don't know who those bands are, look them up. And this week he's doing Uncle stuff. So follow Grey Waist Tim. Thank you, Tim. And yeah. If you're on the East Coast at one of those shows, maybe you'll find Tim in the mosh pit. Clearing it out. All right. Cool. Yeah. Thanks, Tim. Appreciate you, man. So let's do, so that pretty much takes care of Cregan. We are going to talk about Lady Jane Eyre, by the way, who has a very exciting casting that I just found out this morning. This casting news came out a while ago, but we'll talk about that. It's Mother from Raised by Wolves.
What?
Is Jane Arendt. Yeah.
They better use her, use her acting ability. They might broaden the role.
Everything having to do with Jace. This is going to be Jace season, House of the Jace this year. I'm telling you. So she's coming up, but let's do Baela and Rhaena. Give them proper respect as members of Team Black before we get too far astray here. I can already hear the comments, so let me just pull up a picture of Baela. Fan favorite, Baela Targaryen. Not Baela Velaryon, Baela Targaryen.
Yeah.
And this poll is coming up at 76% Cregan. Cregan's idea to go to the wall. Cool. So this is one of the biggest unknowns then. Like, we really kind of just don't know. When we watch this, we won't know what's going to happen next. Will the others appear? Will there be wildlings? We don't know. Will it be a wolf? Will it be Sarah Snow dressed as a man? Cregan dressed as Sarah Snow? We've raised every possibility.
Don't forget dragon egg laying.
Oh, yeah. Oh, right. Yes. Oh, okay. I'll do this poll. I'm going to do this poll.
Vermax is a girl. That's all he has to say. Or is it Arax?
Sorry, you have to watch painful typing. So will we see a dragon's egg? Either will Jace bring one or will Vermax lay one? This is a rumor that there's been a dragon's egg left. So let's start this poll and see, will there be a dragon's egg involved in the action? And remember, I have a whole theory that there was a dragon's egg left there and that it is sending Jon dragon dreams, and that Jon's recurring crypts dream, where he's got to go farther and he hasn't finished it yet, is going to finish with a vision of a dragon that will be coming from a dragon egg that is down in the crypts since this moment. But that's just a theory.
Another theory from Will Foran says Vermax dressed as Sarah Snow.
It's getting really confusing. Well, we have seen the murals, though. That's what's going on in the murals. The murals will be Jace and Sarah Snow and Cregan and Vermax. All just
They're all just taking turns with the same wig. Just
the wigs. Don't put a UV light on that wig either. I said it while you were drinking. I was trying to get you.
no.
UV that wig. Oh, look at this evidence. Oh my God. What's going on here? 63%. Okay, so we've got some skeptics. God bless you, skeptics. Yeah, this isn't wish fulfillment corner here. David Lightbringer. Oh, I got one commenter this week. I shouldn't even give him any energy, but
Damn.
they were just like, this won't happen because you haven't even read the books. And it was on my like Jon Snow will get stolen by the others theory.
What?
And they're like, I didn't even watch your convoluted video. And I was like, well, so you hate the theory, but you didn't watch it, and it won't happen. And you think I haven't read the books, but if you'd watched the video, you'd see that I used a whole bunch of quotes for the books.
Yeah, I don't understand people who will not watch a thing and have hours worth of commentary on it. You didn't watch it.
It was weirdly aggressive. It was weirdly
aggressive. You didn't watch it.
Yeah. Then we'd have something to talk about at least. So we got 64% for a dragon's egg. Very cool. All right. So let's get to Baela. Where we left off, she seems like she wants to participate. She, in general, is the more assertive of the two sisters. She claimed a dragon early. Well, I guess her egg hatched and Rhaenys didn't. That is a big difference. But yeah, Baela is itching to go to war. And then, of course, we have seen in the trailer, which these are the clips of, she is flying Moondancer. Moondancer is just barely big enough to ride, so probably about RX sized. So what are your thoughts on Baela this year and how they obviously are going to increase her role from the books? That's true for most characters, like they're filling in details. But yeah, what do you think about Baela this year?
Yeah. Well, in season 1, we saw her speak for Rhaenys. So that shows that she's not in a child's place and she hasn't been in a while. Like the way she's like, well, my grandma is actually good right now. Like that's not just a simple statement that you make. That means that like you feel comfortable enough. You've been made to feel comfortable your entire life enough to speak for an adult, your elder. So just agreeing with you that on her being just the more assertive one, the more dominant one. I think she's like a female Daemon. She could be that archetype. Even if it's in a way just to prove like, if I'm just like daddy, he'll love me, but he won't, baby girl. He won't, but
well, Daemon loves House Targaryen, as we said. So I think that any of the kids, whether it's Jace or Baela, the more they step up and embrace a Dragon Lord lifestyle, the more Daemon is going to see eye to eye to them. And that is the main reason why there seems to be favoritism of Baela over Rhaena, is because Baela has a dragon, and so Daemon has something to connect to. So I see a lot of people in the chat saying, yeah, Baela is Daemon's daughter for sure. In truth, in character, I think that is true. So the poll question here, and this is our discussion question as well, will Baela actually go to battle with Moondancer, or will she just run errands, meaning messages, reconnaissance, things that aren't directly back? Because that's what they try to do with Jace and Luke. Like, oh, I don't want you going into battle. You're not to fight. You're an emissary only. So is it going to be, will Baela go to war, or will she just run errands? So the two choices will be that she will just fly around, or she will actually go to battle.
It depends. We'll see. It could go either way. Honestly, it depends on what Nettles does, because she has to be different from Nettles. Nettles kind of had one taste of battle and was like, I'm not doing that war stuff. So if Nettles isn't doing war stuff, maybe Nettles is running errands and Baela's actually fighting.
We're not talking about spoilers and stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Right.
But I guess it's not as, your name is Nettles, so yeah, there is a character coming, Nettles, called Nettles, that is coming. I have faith that they will do Nettles in full glory. I
Yeah.
just do. It's not based on anything other than how important she is for the story and Ryan Condal's faithfulness to the important parts of the story. So,
Yeah. Sorry about the spoilers. I just meant to say that it really depends on what
no,
another
it's
character is
there.
doing. If they can't do
Potentially,
the
if
same thing.
Bela's role is increased, this is something they're going to have to figure out how her and Nettles coexist to some extent. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
I think
We'll
Maynard
see.
Plum may have stepped away from the computer. Let me just throw this in real quick. Oh, no, it looks like he'll have it. Okay. Yeah, will Bela go to war with Moondancer or just run errands? There we go.
There it is. Um. Okay.
Maynard Plum, by the way, family man, Sunday, is doing a couple things around the house, so, you know. 72% coming in initially to battle. Let's see how the next 100 votes go. I kind of think she's just going to fly around. And we're just talking in season 2 here, not the whole duration of the shows.
Oh, season 2.
Oh, you didn't say that, David
Yeah.
Lightbringer.
Yeah. I'm like, oh well. In that case, because yeah, I said to war, thinking
Well,
of
it's
it
a
the whole
season
thing.
2 preview.
Yeah. Yeah. I might change my answer then.
Yeah, and if it starts with errands and ends in battle, then that would be battle. So even if she is sent out to just fly, yeah, I guess probably a lot of people are thinking if she's on a dragon and she's near some action, she's going to dive into the action. I think that's probably right. So if I had to choose, I would say, yeah, she'll be sent out not to battle, and then she'll fight anyway.
Yeah.
That seems right. That would fit the
She'll do.
character.
Yes. Trying to be like her mom.
That is also acceptable. Caps lock. Nettles should play Nettles. That is acceptable. Acceptable caps lock. Awesome.
Yes.
You guys are great. This is a lot of fun. I'm having fun. You having fun here, Nettles?
Yes.
All right. We got 500
Trying to
people
stay
watching,
calm.
so do click if you're watching and you're liking the stream. Click the little thumbs up. It does help. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
Yes, Daron is coming, but probably not this season. Probably next season, I would
Dang, you
guess.
think not even really?
I
Wow.
think they'll just
That
talk
would
about him because he's in Old Town. Like his part, he doesn't come into play until battles that will happen in season 3. So
yeah.
at the most, it'd be a cameo, and I don't think they cast him until they need him. That's usually what TV show will do. They'll mention him, but we won't see him until season 3, I don't think.
See, I was hoping that they would show us each sector, how they're preparing, how they're taking the news, even if it's just every sector's reaction to the Luke news.
Well,
Um,
we are waiting to see if they show us Old Town, meaning if they
yeah.
create, the Citadel and the High Tower and Old Town and all that stuff. So
Show us the tower.
show us the tower. Everyone wants to see the tower. Indeed.
But we'll see. We will see. Like, I would love to spend one episode just in the North, one episode just in Old Town, one at Harrenhal. Just see, like, what they think about everything that's happened in season 1.
I do think we will see a lot of the North. We might get one episode that's at least like half North. I can see that. Cool. So good job, guys. I think, yeah, I think the chat is probably right here that she will end up in battle somehow. So
Yeah.
now, Reyna is actually a very interesting character to talk about, despite the fact that she is weak and doesn't have a dragon. No, I'm kidding.
Ooh.
Kidding. She, of course, is really emotional, to be honest. The scene where she's still trying to hatch the egg, and Lena's like, "Dear, it's been 8 years. It's not going to hatch." Like, you
Go
really
claim it.
feel that, right?
Yeah, but it makes me think of it as a cop out. If I'm look at her, she's like almost a woman grown. I'm not waiting that long for my egg to hatch. I'm gonna hop on one of them dragons in the pit. I'm going to get one of the wild ones because I'm a true Targaryen. But if I'm not, if I just think I should be a Targaryen, that I'm just gonna put all my eggs in one basket and just put hope on this egg. So I don't. I obviously that's how she is now. She can always grow and change. But right now, she's not showing me characteristics of a real Targaryen. Not saying she's like useless or a bad person, but everyone can't be a dragon rider. Everyone can't be the dragon. They're just a dragon.
So we were talking about, again, how every family's got your firebrands and your people that are more, chill, more mellow, or more
Yeah.
cerebral. Okay, we saw that with Viserys and Daemon. We've seen that a lot with the various generations of Targaryens.
Yes.
So it could be that Rhaena is a more mellow type, or it could be that she has been stewing on this, as well as the theft of Vhagar. You know, she'd get a chance to claim Vhagar, even though, of course, you can't call dibs on a dragon. We've talked about that, but some part of her probably wanted to try, and another part of her perhaps was afraid, but she didn't, and Aemon did. So will she try to claim a dragon? This is the poll question. Maynard James Plum, go ahead and drop this. Will Rhaena try to claim a dragon? Not even going so far as to say that she will or won't be successful, but will she even try to claim a dragon? They have definitely set this up to be a it's a plot line. So whether she does or doesn't, the fact that she doesn't have a dragon is like very important. That's one of the main things we know about her character. The other interesting thing I will throw out is that, remember, she's betrothed to Luke. Luke just died. Now, they don't have an adult married relationship, but they've grown up together and they have some kind of relationship. And it's, even if it's not like the same as losing your husband or wife, like it's part of her future that just disappeared. So how is she going to respond to Luke's death? Will that lead her to maybe try to climb a dragon? Will that bring out some passion that was maybe, suppressed?
I think she's like a Sansa type that just needs to grow up. Like, she's not going to grow up as fast as everyone else, but just give her time. So Sansa changes a lot from the first book and the first season to the last, obviously. And I think that could be the case. She's just still in her little soft phase. But we'll see. I still think it's wrong that Aemon took Vhagar. I know you can't call dibs, but Aemon.
It was edgy. It was edgy.
Mind your business, Aemon. That is, you don't even live here. You don't live on Driftmark. Like,
we got a war to fight. War is coming.
But I do think, not in defense of Aemon, but there's something inside of Rhaena that made her fixate on an egg instead of the real living dragons. I would have made an omelet out of that egg. I'd have been like, bitch, you're not going to hatch. I'm going to eat you. And then go in and claim like a real dragon.
Well, you're a savage. Nettles, look, you are more closely aligned to actual book net. Not even, no, you are.
Power is power. Give it
You're
here.
like Daemon. You're like female Daemon.
Listen.
More or less. Let's see here. All right, so our poll is at 67 with Rhaena will try to claim a dragon. Interesting. It's pretty high. I think she'll at least talk about it or think about it. We'll just have to see kind of how much they do with it.
Yeah.
Cool. So I'm going to go ahead, let this go just another second longer, but we pretty much got that. Dragon Benedict.
Everyone needs to feel important and needed. And like I said, these dragon women are not the regular small folk. They have much bigger responsibilities on their heads. They have more gifts at their disposal. So they're not going to do what normal women, small folk would do. So she's got to fight. Regular women don't need to fight, but she's got to fight some way.
There you go. What are you saying, Emmeline, about my theories on dreams? I'm not sure what you're referring to. Are you talking about the John Dragon dream, or?
Why would I?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Why would?
I was trying to figure that one out. So so Rhaena definitely, and the dragon thing was the first thing I thought about But I'm definitely interested in seeing how they show her reaction to Luke. You know, we've seen they're all at the funeral processing this together as a family. So,
Yeah, I think they're very close, like cousins and brothers and classmates. You know, like this is someone who's like part of your world.
yeah, and Rainey's, she was the one that was like with Rhaenyra a little more, and Bela was on Driftmark a little more, correct? Last season?
Yes. Yeah, at least that's what that showed. That
In
she
that
was
one
the one.
episode, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um, what does that have to do with dreams? I'm confused, Emmeline. I'm gonna just keep going. So apologies if I'm not understanding what you're saying. But no one's choking anybody here. I'll just say that. So then with Joffrey, Aegon, and Viserys, the little kids.
Oh, because you called me Damon,
Oh,
so I'm supposed to have choked you like about.
oh.
Could you talk about dreams too much?
I apologize for being.
Just like
Oh,
yeah. I mean,
okay.
it
That
took
was
a
clever. That
good
was
job,
clever.
Evelyn, but it took a while for us to
I
get.
felt like I was missing something.
Yeah, I'm team squinty eyes, so like it takes me a while sometimes.
Thank you, Nettles. I appreciate it. Yeah, I was in the dark. I was just lost in the dark there. Cool. All right. Well, let's see. I thought I had a picture of these little snot-nosed kids. Where are they? I hate kids.
Get
I
off my
don't.
lawn.
They're just, Laurie's is right. They're total liabilities. And I forgot to put a picture of them. Whatever.
Okay.
So we're talking about Daemon and Rhaenyra's two kids, Aegon and Viserys, and
Oh,
also
okay.
Rhaenyra's youngest with Harwin / Laenor, who is Joffrey, rider of Tyraxes. So the question here for any of them is just, will they be involved in some significant plot line, or are they just going to be in the background like they were in season one? We
No.
know in the future all three of these characters do have plot lines. There's things that they do that are relevant in the future. So perhaps they could be looking to set up some of that stuff. Do you have any ideas about, Joffrey is kind of another one of those that like, I want to help too. And
Yeah, I think all of them are. That's how you're raised in this society to be helpful. But what you said in the beginning is that Rhaenyra is a warrior and a mother at the same time, I think, is that what you said? You definitely said mother.
yeah,
And Rhaenyra is a mother who just didn't want any of her kids to be fighting at all. Jake's like, no, we want to help. We'll go as envoys. She was like, reluctantly, fine, go. And then what happens? So when
right.
so when, so when Rhaenyra doesn't listen to her instincts, there are big consequences, and that's from her perspective, obviously. So she's going to move in that way that like I'm not letting my sons do anything.
We'll see. And this is the whole thing about this war is that on one hand, you think about it as, oh, it's a Dragon Lord civil war, a bunch of Dragon Lords fighting each other. Well, who are the Dragon Lords? They're mostly the kids.
I know.
They're almost all the kids. That's who we've got. We've got
People who have
teenagers
never had sex
on
like,
dragons fighting their parents' wars, mostly.
yeah, imagine middle schoolers. Like just imagine like if we convert the age to our real world. These are middle schoolers. People that can't tie their shoes. Like,
Freshmen in college, even,
yeah, at the oldest. Yeah,
You don't want a freshman in college running anything that's important to you,
yeah.
you know?
So Joffrey has a dragon. Yes, Joffrey has a dragon. Aegon has a dragon, and then Viserys has an egg. So they're not going to be that useful because I don't think they could even ride the two that have dragons. I don't think those dragons are even big enough to ride.
They wouldn't be yet, no. But that doesn't mean they couldn't be involved in some sort of plot. Maybe an assassin is sent to try to kill one of the kids, or
Yeah.
they try to climb on a dragon, or wander into the yard with a different dragon, or just something. So
Yeah.
this is the poll question, guys. Will one of these three kids be involved in a significant plot line, or will they just stay in the background? And it's not as important of a question as some of the other ones, but it's basically the question for these little ones. So Nettles and I have tried to imagine what they could be, but yeah, without getting into spoilers, all we can say is that they might come up with plots that would foreshadow the things that will happen in the future to these various characters. And it looks like it is starting out about even.
Lonk the Lunk says, I teach undergrad. None of them need dragons or any responsibility. Okay. That's coming from like a teacher. They know kids. Yeah. They know kids better than their parents sometimes.
Yeah,
So
Aegon's like 22. Aemond is like 20
yeah.
or something, 19. Helena's in between them. Jace is like 15 or 16. Bela's like 18. So yeah, these are all pretty young. Luke was 14, I think.
But they're next in line to be your to be your next mayors, your next, politicians kind of. Not all of them are going to have the title of Defender of the Realm, but they might sit on the council.
Yeah, so it looks pretty close. It's around 50-50 here. So we could see some small plot line happening. I kind of think they will. I think they will do something.
Yeah. I wish I was in this writer's room, man. I have ideas. Why can't it be like old times where you can just be talented and just be seen for your talent
Yeah.
and get the job?
So, yeah, I mean, it's... Emmeline's asking, are they considered adults, quote unquote? It's hard to say, there's some acknowledgement of the fact that teenagers are in between childhood and adult. Like Lyanna's called a child woman, which basically means teenager, halfway in between child and adulthood. And, Robb Stark's going around, I'm a man grown, and he's only 15 and he's leading a war. So I call it what you want. But yeah, these basically shortly after puberty, a lot of responsibility is handed to you in Westeros. So whatever that's called.
13 to 17 age. I think it depends on how fast you develop. Like if you're one of those 13-year-olds with a full beard and you know how to fight, I think you can consider yourself a man grown. But I think also there might be a 17-year-old who's a little bit smaller, shyer, and he doesn't become a man grown until he's 17.
So 16 is technically the age of majority. Like, for example, if you have a young heir to the throne or to a house and they have a regent. 16.
Is that our real world? Like
no, Westeros. In Westeros. Like Jaehaerys had a regent. There's been several kings. 16 is always the legal age when they are expected to assume the throne. And it's the same with Cregan. When he was 16, his uncle didn't give it up. And so he waited 2 years and then to, figure out how to do it, I guess. But eventually
What about girls?
What's that?
What about girls? When are you considered a woman grown? Did they put an age on that?
I don't.
Probably flowering.
I mean, we see it. No, that's more like Tywin and Cersei are telling Tyrion to go get Sansa pregnant because she's hit puberty. She's only 13. And then in other times, the Maesters are advising that this Targaryen princess shouldn't, we shouldn't try to have kids until she's 16. Aemma. So it's more of a judgment call there.
Yeah. Okay.
It just, pretty monstrous what the Lannisters do with Sansa. It really is incredible. So we've got, significant, 54% thinks there will be a significant moment for these two as my mouse. Why isn't it just stopped working on me? My wire. There we go. Okay, so we'll close this poll. Slight majority thinks there will be some plot line for them. So we talked about Cregan. Let's talk about Lady Jane Arryn. And I will put up the pictures of the actress. This is Amanda Collin. And in Raised by Wolves, she played Mother, who is hard to... She's kind of an android, kind of archetypal mother, kind of a death machine, kind of a...
She's Eve.
Gives birth to a snake that might be computer snake or something. It's so weird. I love this show.
We were robbed. How did they not give us another season? I can't believe it. They need to do a movie to wrap it up.
Well, that's part of the casualties of the era of streaming wars, quote unquote, that we're in, is all these good shows are getting canceled, not because they weren't good enough, but because the platforms are unstable. and they can't
Yeah.
decide how much money they can afford to spend on shows. I mean, 1899 is my biggest tragedy. I would put Raised by Wolves second, though. So,
There's a
yeah.
few. Meanwhile, Stranger Things, they keep making. I'm like, you guys wrap this up already. Like, stop making more Stranger Things
We
seasons.
didn't need, no, we did not need 17 seasons of Stranger Things. We definitely did not. So, yeah,
Okay.
if you haven't watched Raised by Wolves and you like interesting and weird sci-fi and world building and stuff, you got to watch it. And same with 1899. I always say Dark and 1899. Same people made both those shows.
And don't be afraid to, if you watch Raised by Wolves and you're confused, don't be afraid to go to YouTube and listen to someone explain it because that helped me to get more into the lore because I was like,
Well, go to
what?
Fayfire. Fayfire has my favorite Raised by Wolves videos, actually, who's been
Yeah.
on this channel, Fayfire. Shout out. So, yeah, and if you don't understand, also just keep watching. It's okay. A certain amount of confusion is all right. I was telling my friend, like, mostly it's a vibes thing, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Faith, like just stick with it. But okay, so she's made such a good impression on both of us that we are now fired up for Alyssa Aaron.
Jane Eyre, yes.
Jane,
the Lady
sorry.
of the Veil. So let's
Sorry.
give the background on her character. She is about 35 or 36 at the time of the story. She became Lady of the Veil at age 3 when her family was all killed by stone crows in the mountains.
Wow.
So she was left the only heir. Presumably she wasn't on that trip, because she's 3. She, like Cregan, had to imprison grasping family members. It was a cousin for her. She had to do it twice, in fact. And she says that 3 times her family tried to take her throne from her. So probably once also when she was very young. It is said that she has a voracious appetite for men, according to Mushroom. But according to rumors that the Maester acknowledges, she prefers women or also likes women, although the Maester denies that rumor. But we are told that there's a specific woman that is her close companion, wink, wink, nod, nod. So potentially this could be a pretty exciting character, a hot-blooded character. Some of these rumors are based in probably not all calumnies, so...
Yeah.
Some people are more sexual than others. This could be such a character. There are some very colorful rumors about what Jace had to do to convince Jade Eyre to come to his mother's side. So, he had to do that sort of Jon Snow Lord's kiss. Exactly that, actually.
That'll work. That'll work.
So we shall see what they do with that, with all these rumors. I guess that probably Jane will just like tease and flirt with Jace and make him feel awkward, and there'll just be a little bit of tension and maybe we'll see some funny story that will lead to rumors or something. But I kind of doubt that it's what Mushroom says with this.
No, yeah. If Mushroom says someone is like voracious appetites of men, that means they had sex once. Like that's all it means.
Basically,
But no.
yeah, it's intentional color, so it's obviously everything with Mushroom involved. Makes it so that we don't know. But hey, randy things do happen, scandals do happen.
Yes.
So, yes, thank you for
psychologically-
bringing. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say psychologically, her pretending to have a voracious appetites for men would shield her true nature if she prefers women. Like how sometimes the manliest masculine men are like in the closet because they have
Okay.
to show that like I'm a womanizer, I lift weights, but really you're swallowing swords, But like,
That would be a good way to write the character. That could be interesting. And yes, obviously Jace is like 15 or 16 and she's 35, so there's a little cougar vibes here. If you want to chuckle about that, but like I said, I think it'll probably just be a little bit of playful taunting and that kind of thing. I like your take on that. I like that. Yeah, the beard, right? So her reputation is her beard.
yeah.
Could be. So that the other thing is, yes, Damon killed Rhea Royce. In the books, he goes to the Vale and petitions Lady Jane Eyre for his rights to the Royces' claims. They cover
Okay.
this very briefly on the show at the feast. It's
Yeah.
more of a big deal in the book. Damon goes to the Vale and tries to make this claim. Not only does Jane deny him, she boots him from the veil and says, "Don't show your face here ever again." So, a powerful character. They've cast the character with a great actress, so probably this is going to be a lot of fun. Even if she's not on screen for super long, it'll be interesting when she's there. So,
Yeah, she's good. Dang. Now that I've seen her, I'm like, shoot, she could have played some other people. Um,
she's got
Alex
great
River.
facial lines, and her acting is
Yeah.
amazing in Raised by Wolves, of course. So, yeah, she's
Yeah.
incredible.
She could have been the witch. Rivers, Alice Rivers. But oh well, she's gonna be an awesome Jane Eyre. I haven't thought about Jane Eyre from the book, so just her casting has already excited me. So it worked.
I want to imagine Jane Eyre doing the Raised by Wolves banshee scream on
Oh my
Damon, like ah, the death dealer.
If
Okay,
only-
so that's pretty fun, and she yeah, even though she did send Damon packing, that might make you think that she will be anti-Rhaenyra. That is not the case. Of course, you have to remember Rhaenyra's mother is half Arryn, Emma, and
Yeah.
Jane Eyre, being a female ruler of the Vale, she has a certain amount of sympathy with Rhaenyra being a female ruler. So she is
So would-
inclined towards Rhaenyra's side.
Would she be Amma's cousin?
Um,
Because Amma's dad was the Lord Aaron. That's why she has last name Aaron. Her mom was
probably
a
like a niece. Like she would be in the next generation down.
right.
'Cause she's about Rhaenyra's age, essentially.
Yeah.
Rhaenyra's in her 30s as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So Cregan and Jane are basically the two most interesting allies of Rhaenyra. There are others as well, but these are the two that I wanted to talk about. However, are there any of the other ones that you or the chat would like to talk about? I guess there's like the Tullys. Who else?
No, I mean I think
Blackwood.
it's right. Yes, definitely the Riverlands are a big
Sabbath
chunk.
of Frey.
Yeah. But I don't know. I'm ready to dive into the North and the Vale because they have like I don't know. I guess you could argue that every region has the best armies, but the Vale and the North, like I'm sorry, those are the soldiers that I want. So I would be focusing on getting them first.
Okay, so what's the poll question for Jane Eyre? Is she using her reputation as a beard? I won't make that a poll
Tacos
question.
or eggplant. Put
You
tacos
guys,
or
I'll tell you what. You guys in the chat, just tell me what you think of Nettle's theory. Is Jane Eyre? Is she got a beard reputation going on? Is she gonna sleep with Jace or not? What do you guys think about this? I think you have served up some delicious ideas here, Nettle. So I appreciate that. Is Jane the queen of the Lord's kiss?
Listen.
Right on. Yeah, just say some smutty things in the chat. That's all I'm saying. Do your thing, chat. Do your
They're
thing.
putting tacos instead of eggplant, so definitely a beard.
Right on. Well, main thing is that I'm just excited that they've cast a powerhouse actor. It means that this character will be fun and interesting.
Yes.
And the rumors are especially delicious, if I could use that word.
Delicious. My.
Who doesn't love a good fish taco? Okay. All right. Moving along. So let's go ahead and call this. Let's call spoilers now. We're an hour and 50 minutes in, so we could talk a little bit about the Dragon Seeds, or we could go back for spoiler thoughts on any of the characters. I know some of our book readers get a little bit fried with me when I pretend like we haven't ever read Fire and Blood. It's like, come on, Dave.
What is this? Dragons?
So-
How do you say it? Dragons? How do you say that? No. Let's do both. We could go back and see if there's anything more that we wanted to say and then go into the dragon seeds.
Cool. So spoilers all. With Rhaenyra, I almost made the question, will she fly her dragon into battle? She does not in Fire and Blood, but she's obviously a little more gung-ho of a dragon lord on the show than we hear of in the books. So I think they probably still will not have her fight in battle, but we do see her flying more. So what do you think they'll do with her and Cyrax?
I don't know. It's so hard to tell because in the books, the reason Rhaenyra doesn't go into battle is it's to make people hate her. It's to show that she's a hypocrite. That you have a dragon, you have a missile, you have all this stuff, but you're not getting your hands dirty. You're ordering people into battle. So the question becomes for the
But
show, Rhaenyra, what
I
does it do for her not to go into battle? Go ahead.
I was just saying is I think it's true that actually Damon counsels her against that though in the books, does he not?
Um, he does sometimes, but she's still the queen. She's still choosing not to do this, and that's the question. Why doesn't she go into battle? Is it self-preservation? Is it not having faith in her dragon riding abilities? Is it that she's just scared of death, or is it because she thinks that that's a man's role? I'm just supposed to tell people what to do, but the men are supposed to die in battle.
Well,
Um,
again with the whole playing dumb and pretending like I haven't read the book, I'm talking about Damon more like in this open-ended way, but what we actually see in Fire and Blood is that he is very strategic with employing the dragons. He does not want to just send all the dragons against the city. He wants
right.
to use certain tactics and employ them in specific ways. He wants to lure Aemond and Vagar away from King's Landing and then move around him. He is not just trying to be like, let's fight and be violent. Ah! Like,
Yeah.
no, he's very
Don't double
strategic.
fit. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I don't know because I don't know show Rhaenyra, so I don't know what her motivations are going to be or what it looks like. But since we said spoilers, the thing that happens to Rhaenys, I think, will scare the crap out of her. To see her mortality in her face, kind of. Because I think she has to look up to Rhaenys. Rhaenys is the
yeah.
person that whose role I'm filling in now. She was the heir. It didn't work out. Now I'm the heir. So if she can, if she can die, then that means that like I can die,
Shout
and
out
that's
Lonk the
scary.
Lunk. And then also the other thing is that after Meleys and Rook's Rest happens, they'll be down a Dragon Rider,
Yeah.
which is probably what leads to the whole Dragon Seeds thing. Like, oh God, we got to do something because we're just down to Rhaenyra and Daemon and Bela
I
here.
guess what I'm trying to say is I think it's this sounds horrible, but I think it's better for her to stay out of the fray. Like when I'm weighing the pros and cons, what's
Hmm.
happened, like we're using Rainey's as the example, like I think it's the smart thing to kind of stay out of it.
It's
I'm the
got to
ruler.
be.
I'm not
It's the
the
same thing
soldier.
for the Greens. Like, they're not, the people advising Aegon that should be the last resort, taking Aegon and Sunfire into battle, because then you're risking everything when you do that. So you shouldn't do that until you kind of have to, or you see the opportunity to gain a decisive advantage, which is
Yeah.
essentially what they're trying to do with Rook's Rest. They're like, well, if we bring our two biggest dragons and ambush one, we might be able to take out one dragon and not lose any of our dragons.
Yeah.
Because that's what each side is trying to avoid, is just having all the dragons fight and die and neutralize each other. You're trying to
Yeah.
bring an overwhelming advantage to bear.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
And sorry, Rhaenyra. I mean, a part of me just feels like she's not a strong dragon rider. Like she rides a dragon for leisure, not for war. Like I don't think everyone rides their dragon the same way. Like someone who, like for leisure, what I mean, going to an island for a picnic, a little copulation here and there, riding it back. That's different than ducking fire, making barrel rolls. Like that's a different type of flying.
I'd agree with you. I think it does make sense to hold Rhaenyra back as long as possible. And I also think that it's pretty cool to have her fly around more, because it just shows somebody that's on top of the war. Like we saw Aenys, for example, he stays in the Red Keep. He has a dragon
Yeah.
and doesn't, he's afraid to go anywhere. And then when he does it in a weak way. Like, Rhaenyra's not that. Like, she is going to take
No.
her dragon and she's going to go places and find things out if she needs to and talk to people when she needs to. So I think that works for making her more of a dynamic and active participant, because I don't get the idea that she just wants everyone to fight her wars for her. That's not the vibe that I pick up really from her
Not young
anywhere.
Rhaenyra. Yeah. We'll see. Now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, now she's a little bit vengeful. I think if we do see her get on her dragon, it's gonna be on some vengeful stuff.
She's like stalking towards that thing in that clip from this. She's like kill me on that dragon. I kind of feels like that. So
But her hands are kind of tied. Like if you think about it, like even if the show is like, forget the books, we're just gonna do our own plot line right here. What can Rhaenyra actually do? Her hands are kind of tied. She's not gonna go over to King's Landing and roast anybody.
well, once Damon
Like,
goes to
yeah,
Harrenhal, it's potentially she's flying to Harrenhal to consult with Damon after he's been there a while or something like that. Maybe they both fly to Harrenhal and then she flies back. Of course, the fact that they showed the God's Eye and the Isle of Faces in that shot means that we will get the Adam Valerion, and we haven't had a chance to talk about this, but since we're in spoiler territory, Adam
yeah,
Valerion, who claims Sea Smoke, who has been cast and is in the story. Both Adam and Alan have been cast. So they're not just going to have Laenor come back and play Adam's role. That's
I
not
guess
going to
not
happen,
then.
which is good.
But what's going to happen to that dragon? Is its skull gonna split consciousnesses?
I don't know how they'll handle that, and I think it'll be handled really quickly, and then it'll be over, and we won't care anymore. Either he'll be dead, or they'll just say, "Oh, he released the bond, and that's that," and you
You
can
know what'd
release
be
the bond
cool?
now. You
It'd
know,
be cool if Adam tries to go up to Sea Smoke. Sea Smoke throws some fire and he scares him off. Then they cut to something with Laenor in Essos and he like dies of just chance. And then the next day, yeah, oh my God, like I fell, whatever. Like, and then the next day Adam goes out again and this time it works.
I honestly would not have a problem if they just say that there is a way for somebody to release the dragon bond.
No, that's not how magic works. It has to be absolute. What do you mean release the dragon bond?
The
Are
reason
you
why I
kidding me?
think it's go ahead. No, make your case
No,
first.
I'm just saying. Think of all it took for Daenerys to hatch them dragons. All the people that had to die. Like it takes big magic to release big magic.
Yeah, I definitely am not convinced that I'm right. I'm just saying if they decide to say that the dragons are intelligent and can sense, like Vagar knew that Lena wanted to die. It took Vagar a second to comply because it's very sad, but like she didn't have to explain. Vagar knew. So if Adam is like, "No, I'm leaving you now." Like there could be a way to communicate that to the dragon.
Maybe we'll
So
see.
don't be surprised if they do that, is all I'm saying, because they're probably
It
not
would
going to
save
spend a lot
time.
of time on it.
It would save time and budget. You're not having to show a dragon.
But maybe he'll be dead. That's obviously could be a thing.
Yeah.
Or maybe they've got to do a magic ceremony to free the bond. That's something that Damon
Yeah.
knows about. Sing a song or some shit. I don't know. Prime the dragon.
Yeah.
Dragon
Laenor has to
handlers.
do
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We will see. But what I was just going to say is that Adam Valerian with Sea Smoke, this will be in season 3, but on the way to Tumbleton, he stops by the God's Eye and consults with the Green Men, whatever that means. So we don't even know if that's just a rumor in the books. However, the fact that they have now showed us this island when we've never seen it in Game of Thrones, that probably means that it is going to go there, which is incredibly exciting to think
Yeah.
that in season 3 we might see the Isle of Faces.
So wait, you keep saying some stuff in season 3, some stuff. So what do you think we end with in season 2?
Well, they have said that they're moving the Battle of the Gullet to season 3. That's the one where Jace
Oh,
dies.
okay.
They're not
Okay,
killing
cool.
Jace this year because he's handsome and this is going to be Jace season. And so
Okay.
that will happen at the beginning of season 3.
Okay, cool. I didn't know that. That's why I'm like, what time frame are you in? Because these are okay. So that's kind of stretched out, which means we'll have a season of more political intrigue.
And that is why I say they're beefing up the northern plot line. Maybe
They
Jane
should.
Eyre. Maybe we'll go to Old Town and see Daron. That would be another way
They
to do it.
should. That was my biggest complaint about season 1, and I saw other people saying the same thing. Is that like the thing we loved about Game of Thrones is that you didn't have to just like one family. If you don't like the Starks, here are the Lannisters. You don't like the Lannisters, here's the Targaryens. Here's Tarth. Here's all this stuff. And with House of the Dragons, it's the Targaryens, baby. You better like them. We're gonna be in King's Landing, you know. So a lot of people complain that they wanted to see the other regions. So I hope it's cool if they focus the first season just on King's Landing, get us introduced to the Targaryens, but then for the rest, it kind of goes back to like Game of Thrones style where we visit. Like everyone is just as important, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, so we're definitely going to see a lot of Harrenhal this year.
Yeah.
I'd
That'd
be
be good.
surprised if we didn't see the Eyrie.
Yeah.
Is
we
Jane
would love
Eyre
see
going to
that.
be hanging out at the Royce's castle at that one hill that we have? It's the Royce. The Vale right now is a hill and a castle in the distance. That's
Oh my
it.
gosh, that's
So
true. Yeah. The goats or the sheep, that's all they showed. Like this
right.
is just
So it would
like
be
a
cool to
shepherd.
see some the Vale. That I
Yeah.
mean, Lady Jane's not really going to seem like the Lady of the Vale if she's not in the Eyrie. So
Yeah. Moondor and everything. Even if all they gave us was Harrenhal, Old Town, and the North, my goodness, we've got some meat to chew. If even if it was just those three.
well, Old Town
But
is a big question. Oh, I don't know why
yeah.
you retracted that, Woody. That's absolutely the question. That was a great comment. He got
Yeah, especially if
bashful.
George could give us some book answers for what is going on in Old Town. Show me that tower. Drop them pants. But
Yeah.
but yeah.
Someone really should.
Show us the tower. Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be cool to see. It seems like a cool thing, wonder of the world, 900 feet tall, built
Yeah.
on top of a mysterious fused stone fortress. Seems like an interesting type of thing for someone to
But going
create.
going back to the past people we've talked about lately, we've had years to ruminate on this story. So of course, I just want to put that caveat out there that this is after just years of mulling over the story. I'm starting to think that they might take Damon's moment away. Either have it be something like an accident. They've shown us that Aemon's moment in the beginning was an accident
What are you
with
talking
Luke,
about? What are you talking about?
his big moment over the God's Eye with Aemon.
Oh. Oh, you're saying like the leaping from one dragon to the other or whatever?
Yeah, that and that it could just be someone else. Like it could be freaking Rhaenyra. I don't know. Um, well, yeah, it could be or it being a joint effort with Nettles
Do you think
or
they will
something like
change
an
Rhaenyra's
accident.
death?
Huh?
Do you think they will change Rhaenyra's death?
They might. That's the thing is that like the show could go anywhere. And but just specifically focus on Damon, the fact that they keep showing him flip flopping between being just like vindictively evil and then being like, well, I'm kind of gray, I'm a nice guy. And like the flip is showing us that like maybe that it'll be consistent when he flips at the end, whatever that flip might be. But that's just what I think.
I personally do not think they will change Rhaenyra's death. I do think the show feels free to make changes where it helps them tell the story.
Yeah.
But I think Rhaenyra's death is such an important part of it, just
She
everything
could
about
still
it.
have her death. She could be injured, but we'll see. That was just my thing on Damon. That's like spoilerly because I'm trying to remember everyone we talked about. Obviously, that's Team Black. I said what I said about Corlys. I think that's the same. Um, yeah, Rhaenys. Now I think Rhaenys. That's going to be a bigger moment than it was in the books. It was kind of a big moment, but I think Corlys is not going to be here for that at all. He's gonna like I can just see him like. Oh, and going back to your question about if people will listen to Rhaenys, I feel like Rhaenys is going to be in charge up until her demise because Rhaenyra is not going to be of sound mind for a while,
Huh.
and her
Interesting.
decision, and like Rhaenys' decision to go and fight, I think is made because there's no one else around. Like she's in charge. She's like, I, I got to go help these people, and so I feel like yes, she's
So
in
hang
charge.
hang on a second. I have to stop the chat. Chat is running away. There are no credible rumors that Nettles has been cut from the show. If you've heard that, it's just because people are saying it. There's no information about that at all.
Yeah,
We
we don't
don't
know.
know. They don't announce all the castings. There are leaked photos of a bunch of would-be dragon riders in line waiting to try to ride a dragon, and one of them looks like it could be Nettles, but we
Yeah.
don't know. So
Yeah.
y'all need to chill. And if you've heard rumors, they are not credible. There is nothing to be based on. I have a lot of faith in Ryan. Nettles is a huge part of the story for so many reasons, both emotionally and as far as Dragon Rider mechanics. I don't see a way to cut her and have other people play her role. I do not think so. That is just my opinion. But there is no credible information that she has been cut. So everyone relax. Some of the rumors with House of the Dragon have really gotten like the thing. People have been insisting that Daeron's not going to be in the show long after they have said he's definitely going to be in the show. They show his bloodline on the intro. It's very clear that he will be there, but people still go, no, he's been cut.
Yeah. But they have been weird, like, about not mentioning him. If you didn't read the book, you would never know that there was a Daeron.
What do you mean?
Like you would never know he was born. Does Allison ever say my 4 children or anything?
I mean, he plays a pretty important role in the one battle that he's involved in.
No. I mean, in season 1.
Season 1. You said book.
Yeah.
You meant
Did
season
I?
1.
Sorry.
No, they don't. They don't
I'm just
refer
saying,
to
like,
him.
They haven't said anything.
No.
So I only know about him because I read the books. If I didn't, I would be.
Okay. Yeah.
I'd be like, who? She could have just said
Yes,
anything.
it will be a little bit out of nowhere. Be like, oh, they've got to. Yeah, they will. But I think that's. I'm guessing they probably did, and it just got cut because they cut so much crap from season 1. It was probably in there somewhere. But
I hate when
his
they do
dragon
that.
is very cool. Yes, Tessarion, the Cobalt Queen.
We haven't seen a blue dragon at all. We've just seen like brown, yellow, greenish variations. That blue is going to be magnetic.
Well, there is some new blue dragon artwork that just dropped.
Nice.
And I'm going to share it with you. It's from Hivemind 3D.
Tessie.
Yeah, Hivemind 3D Designs. And let me just pull this window out. Recommend following them on Instagram. And you can see the... It's at hive_mind_3D. And this one is, let's see, this is Tessarion.
Wow. How nice.
And she's got one
She's
where
big.
you...
She looks big.
What's that?
She looks kind of big.
A little
Not
bit.
that I have anything to
She's
go
like a
off of.
mid-sized dragon.
Yeah.
No, it's... Where's the...
I thought she would look like, Arax. Yeah.
I thought she did. I'm looking for something.
I wonder if Tessarion's mom is Dreamfire, since they're both blue.
I wish they would give us more information about which dragons are related to which.
Yeah. All we have to go off is color.
Oh, that's a commission. That's not an ice and fire dragon. That is
Very
a commission.
wyvern looking.
There's a cool Caraxes. Sorry, I can't find the one that I was looking for. But this is a very cool account to follow. As you can see. Is that... No, that's another commission. If you want a custom dragon, obviously you can do that. Also, their designs are 3D printable, too. You can buy the 3D... If you do the 3D printing stuff...
Oh, wow. Nice.
You can buy the designs of these dragons because these are rendered in 3D. And then you can print out your model and paint it.
Print them out yourself.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that's a cool thing to do too. This is Tessarion there.
Oh, wow.
And this one, I think you can see a little more of the copper, the reddish, yeah.
That looks like Drogon ancestry. Kind of like the Tyrannosaurus skull. Because isn't it a skull of a T-Rex, skull of a wolf, and then skull of a camel?
Yeah, she's got Melly's like horns, but the face doesn't really look much like Melly's, actually. This is Melly's here.
Yeah, that looks like the wolf, the sheepish
Yeah, I think you're right.
archetype. Well,
Because they
yeah,
start with
about-
those 3 types, but they do modify all of them. So none of them are, or at least a lot of them might not look exactly like. And this is, by the way, Rook's Rest. So this is Melly's taking on Sunfire with Vagar dropping up from the top. So this is that battle that we were talking about there.
I hope they do it justice. Like, they need to show that Melee's is winning at certain points. Because it's not like you would think 2-on-1. Melee's almost had it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, until Vagar shows up. Yeah, that's how they say it. It's sick Moon Dancer, by the way. Love that. With the moon in the background, obviously. So. So dragon seeds, I do want to mostly, cover them in a
Yeah.
in their own thing. But do you have thoughts on well, what
On
do
the
we want to
dragon.
say quickly about them, I guess? Just the main thing is just like it's just kind of unbelievable to create new dragon lords that you just have no assurance of their loyalty or their motives, and it really is kind of a desperate idea. And the way
Yeah.
that it's written to fall out is pretty believable, to be honest, you know?
Yeah. I think like Targaryens, they get together and they produce more dragons. And like the one lesson we learn from the dragon seeds is that nothing comes of it. So I don't know if that's intentional of George or if it's just something that's just a casualty of life and war. But it just seems that like, sure, we let outsiders in and look what happened. It didn't really, okay, it did help. There's certain key moments that it helped, but no new dragons came from this. They didn't marry other dragon riders and have it like, so is that the lesson that no matter how well written they are, it's futile?
I think that George is showing us why the Targaryens do the incest, essentially. Like, this is what happens. Anyone that has a dragon can be a challenger to the throne. They can declare themselves a warlord. They can shift the power. And so that is why you keep it in the family. Like,
Yeah.
George is mimicking medieval history. And in medieval royal history, in European medieval royal history, there was a lot of cousin marriage for just that reason, but it was wealth they were
Yeah.
trying to keep in the family, as well as political power. But political power is derived from land ownership, so wealth. And it's the same thing
Alliance.
here, where it's like, yeah, you see what happens if you just let whoever ride dragons. Like, you need to be assured of the loyalty of your dragon riders, and the only real way you can do that is with bonds of blood, and that is how the Targaryens operate. So this is kind of like why they do that.
Yeah, I think that's the purpose of them is to just show that like, okay, you guys wanted other people to ride the dragons. Here we go. Are you happy now?
Here you
Like,
go. Hard Hugh Hammer, you know?
Ulf the White.
Ulf the White.
Like,
Ulf the Sot.
I mean, Adam and Nettles are good. We're not gonna say that all the dragon riders are horrible people and they shouldn't have been given that power, but if we use those four, that's a 50-50 split of like
So let's
good
talk
and
about the
bad.
Adam Allen Corliss thing, since we have a minute to talk spoilers here.
Yeah.
It's never resolved in the books. It mostly seems like they are Corliss's kids, but we do know that Laenor says he tried to go straight, which means maybe unlikely, because you don't really just get pregnant the first time you sleep with somebody usually. But maybe, just maybe, there's enough of a plausible chance they could be Laenor's. The main question is that Adam anyway, rides a dragon. And if he's Corliss's son, where did he get that dragon rider blood? You'd have to go all the way back to Valena Velaryon, who's the mother of the conquerors. She was already half Targaryen. So that means that Targaryen has married into Velaryon many generations back. So
Yeah.
even the regular Velaryons have a little bit of Valerian blood.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is.
It could be a Nettles situation too with Adam if we want to say that Corlys is the father.
No, their
I
mother's not Valerian. Their mother is Mouse, who is like,
Mouse is a dockside worker,
yeah, she's not Valerian at all.
but she ends up owning her own fleet of ships by the end of it. Mouse is incredible. She has a great story.
Oh,
But
incredible character, yes. And I hope
yeah,
that they do something with that character too. That would be cool to show us a little bit of her relationship to Corlys. Like, oh, you've kept me in the
yeah.
shadows all these years. Now you come for my sons when it's politically advantageous to you.
But we'll see because it's like I don't like Corlys being the father because then because of Adam and Alan's ages, it means that like what about Rainey? So was this like a fake marriage? Like were you not getting everything you needed from the hot-blooded dragon rider Rainey's? That's what kind of like what that's what puts a question in my mind. But then it leaves Laenor and it's like, well, I don't think Laenor would be able to have kids with someone else if he couldn't have it with Rhaenyra. Like I was saying,
Right.
like if he was
Like that
able to
him and
have,
Rhaenyra tried. Yeah, so that
it
would
would
be
have been with
weird if he
Rhaenyra.
had two kids elsewhere. And Rhaenyra's had a million kids, so she obviously doesn't have a problem getting pregnant.
Yeah. So their ages don't match up with Corlys. I think even their ages don't even really match up with Laenor. Laenor would have had to and have the kid at like have Adam at like 13, right?
Well, I don't know if we have the ages that specifically for Adam and Alan, but that would be the time that Laenor was trying to go straight, was when he was a teenager.
Okay.
Because it would have been under pressure from his parents, either directly or indirectly, to try to
Yeah.
be straight, so that would have been then.
Logically, it seems like they would have to come from Corlys just because of heterosexuality. But those kids could have came from anywhere. If Nettles can come from anywhere,
So
that
Noir
long
Genta is raising the question of the Valarians. We are told that they were never dragon riders in Valeria, but we don't know if that was because they just didn't have access to dragons, because they didn't choose to, or because it's not just a matter of being Valyrian, but rather that the dragons are tied to specific lineages, family lineages. There is some gray area there. It could be that all Valarians, even without any Targaryen influx, have a latent ability to bond with a dragon.
like a recessive gene, not a dominant gene.
Right, or something like it's just they've never done it. That could be the answer, absolutely.
Like just not enough of the sauce.
But there's definitely a lot of clues that dragons are bound to family lines, and that is so the
I like that
Targaryens can bond with Targaryen dragons only. But that's where I said, like, the Valarians have been intermarrying with the Targaryens going back. And the thing is, if the mother of the Conqueror, Valenna Valarion, is half Targaryen on her mother's side, she's probably not the only one. Because we know what the Targaryens do. They marry other people with similar looks to keep their looks, So they probably would have been drawing Valarion wives and husbands before the conquest multiple times.
Yeah.
And that kind of leaves all the possibilities open.
And who knows who Mouse is? Maybe Mouse is, has a little bit of a recessive Valyrian, and that's enough to match with Corlys. But still, why is Corlys stepping out on whatever? We'll see. Maybe
So
the show
with
will
Corlys, why would he cheat on Rhaenys? The answer is that when you're on a ship, you're gone for a long time, and sooner or later you get a little lonely or something like that. That's probably the
Your
answer.
wife could fly to you no matter where you are. She has a
but
dragon.
it's not her job to fly to you so that. Come on
I'm
now.
just saying. I'm just saying he's luckier than most men, where he can literally just be like,
Oh
"Hey,
no,
babe,
for
you
sure,
up?
for sure.
You-
I'm
you
just
wanna-"
saying that's how it happened. Even if they have a loving relationship, he's away
Distant,
for a year or more, 2 years at a time. So in
I
that
get
world, I mean, even Kat is like, if a man is at war, who knows, whatever,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, George is telling us anyone could cheat. I can't wait till we see Jamie cheat. Anyone can cheat. That's the lesson.
what if the Valerians, Valarians, are Targaryens, but bastards or seeds? They're not. They're a royal family from Valyria.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they have their
no.
own island. Yeah,
It just says that they were never dragon riders. It's not said why, but we know that not all Valerians were dragon riders. Only
Yeah.
certain families possessed dragons. So
Cohories. The Valerians might have been in Westeros before the Targaryens.
they were. And Celtigar
So, yeah.
also doesn't have dragons, and they're
Celtigar,
Valerians too. So
No, I definitely like the fact that some Valyrian predecessor from thousands of years ago made some sort of paid some sort of magic price, an inconceivable price, and that's how their lineage is able to bond with dragons. And if your predecessor didn't pay that price, you can't do that.
yeah, and
only blood
I'm going to
can
make
pay
a
for
video
that.
about that. I believe that's exactly the case. I think it's the
Yeah.
Dragonbinder horn that is used to stuff the spirit in the dragon to create that lineage. And that's why
I didn't know
Euron
that.
needs the horn, because he's not a Valerian. And so I think if Euron has Victarion sacrifice himself with the horn, which Victarion wants to do, that
Yeah.
will allow Euron to bond with a dragon that Victarion's spirit then gets stuffed into.
Like Nisa. It has to be a willing sacrifice. You can't just
Oh, I didn't even think that far.
Yeah.
But I guess it
That's why
would be because
that's
the
why it's
Valerian
rare.
ancestor situation would be a willing sacrifice too. They'd be doing it to create the bond. Yeah. Okay, Grandpa, time to go into Lizard Forever. That's right. Come on, Grandpa, let's go. Get in the Lizard now. We talked about this.
Okay, Grandpa.
I love it. Nice job.
But yeah, I can't. Yeah, for that reason, I need to know who Adam and Alan's parents are, and but yeah, I do think that it's just Corley's being
I wonder
a
if they
minor.
will reveal or if they will annoyingly leave it mysterious.
They can't leave too many things. First of all, we need to know how Sea Smoke is
Yeah, no
is getting
cop
another
outs,
rider.
Ryan Condal. You got to answer these damn
Yeah,
questions.
you can leave some things, but you can't have Sea Smoke getting another rider. Plus, who are these kids' parents? No, no, no. So you have to answer something.
It's whatever. Anything goes. No, Ryan's dedicated. He will try to make answers, I think. So,
And I just want to say, as the viewers, we care about that stuff. We're not just here to see a dragon blow fire. We want to know the intrigue, dragon bonds,
well,
parentage. Like,
the scene with Damon singing to the dragon gives me a lot of hope because they didn't need to put that scene in there at all.
no,
And it's pure lore. It's pure like what's Damon doing? Is he priming Vermithor for a new ride? Like it's purely dragon lore. So they've
there are
got the
people that think,
incubators and they've got
yeah.
Damon talking about Cyrax has laid a clutch and he's all excited. Like I think they'll keep going with that.
Honestly, so many viewers who are non-book readers, literally like 3 of them have said, Damon has 2 dragons. Like they're just sure that now, and like me, I'm like screaming at the screen, no, no, that's just Vermithor. He's just hanging out. But yeah, they're already confusing the viewers, which is a good thing. I like when the show is smarter than us.
Yeah, well, you can pay as much attention as you want. So all
Or
right,
read
well,
the
I
book.
think that is probably a good place to leave it. I will take final call for
Yeah.
questions about Team Black, but I think we've done a pretty good preview here.
Yeah. But I will say it seemed like if you had to say it one way or another, would you say that Team Black was winning or losing at the end of season 1?
Oh, well, they're losing
Not
simply
the war
because
battles.
Team Green holds the throne in King's Landing. So that's the main prize, really. So they start off with that advantage. But
Okay. That's
overall, they're pretty even as far as
really
I
well.
mean,
They've taken a blow. Who has Team Green got all their sons?
I'm just looking
Rhaenyra,
at mostly the most powerful dragons. Like, it's kind of 3-3 right now with
yeah.
Helena, Aegon, and Aemond versus Melly's, Rhaenys and
Cassidy.
Melly's, Rhaenyra, and then Daemon, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think Team Black's at a disadvantage. Doesn't mean they're going to stay for long, but they've already taken a blow. So their leader is not working to her 100%. I mean,
Okay, I
how
see
could
what you're saying. Yeah, they've taken a hit. Yeah, they took the first
taking a
loss,
hit?
certainly.
And like you said, they don't have the throne. That's -2. So, but I still love my Team Black. I'm still here to see them do great things, like go to the north. They make friends. It's like Team Black was the friends you made along the way. I'm not talking because I'm looking at the chat. People asking for Roddy the Ruin. What if y'all don't even like Roddy the Ruin? Y'all think he's gonna be like Davos, but what if he's like Euron?
He's going to be the crustiest MFer that ever graced the screen. He better be.
No, Roddy is cool. I'm here for Roddy the Ruin too, but I mostly want to see Dalton Greyjoy. Show me Dalton.
And so
As
we
he
have
did.
asked the question, who has the advantage to start season 2?
Yeah.
And we are beginning with a little bit of an edge for Team Green. But again, thank you to the 500 people who have watched our season 2 preview. Appreciate that, folks. We are getting close. We are a month and a half away here. So like 6 weeks, 7 weeks.
The season premiere is my birthday, which is a birthday that I share with Tupac, and I'm always mad at him for like trying to steal my shine. But every 7 years, every 6 or 7 years, my birthday
He's
falls on
dead.
Father's Day.
He hasn't celebrated his birthday in like 20 years.
But still, that
Still.
association, I need the day for myself.
Tupac Nation, remembering Tupac.
But every 6 or 7 years, my birthday falls on Father's Day, and this year it's Father's Day. So we'll have the premiere on Father's Day, and we already know as book readers, this is not a good thing for fathers. The show always does that, even with Game of Thrones.
Brutal.
Didn't they have Tywin's death, Ned's beheading? I think both of those fell on Father's Day.
Oh, did
Yes,
they?
yes,
I don't remember.
they did. So
Yeah, no Tupac slander, Sarah. I grew up on Tupac. I have much respect for Tupac.
I'm just saying, June 16th this year, it's just gonna be great. My birthday.
Oh, he's not dead. I forgot he's in Belize. I'm sorry.
is
Of
in
course.
Belize.
He's dead. He's dead, guys.
So yeah, I hope that they lean into that father theme with this premiere that is gonna come here soon.
There you go. Well, I'll be happy to have you here. We'll all say happy birthday to you
Yeah.
through the tears and traumatic shakes or whatever that we've got going on.
I know I'll have to buy an outfit, a special outfit. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet, but
Danny roasted King's Landing on Mother's Day, someone says.
I bet they do. Yeah.
I don't know
They
if any
think
of this
about
is true. I'm just repeating what I'm seeing in the chat. So cool.
Oh,
All
someone
right,
else
guys.
has my birthday.
Was that?
Adalia Grayson has my birthday too, June 16. Awesome.
Honestly, Tupac that's pretty tight to share your birthday with Tupac. That's a legend right there.
Whatever. He's always trying to be like me. He went to art school. Like he's just copied my whole entire life. Like I don't
now
understand.
that you pointed out, it is obvious.
Yeah.
It is.
He's
yeah.
always trying to be like me, so I'm just like
I see
whatever.
that. All eyes on Nettles. No, for sure. All right, guys. Well, thanks a lot. Thank you, Nettles. Make sure you subscribe to Girl Nettles' channel. And yeah, I will have a Team Green produced video about half an hour long coming to you this week, midweek. And I'm not sure what we'll do next week, but it'll be something fun. So thank you. And yeah, if you missed the Littlefinger stream, Nettles and I did that, and Nettles performed, as you heard, the Lysa Arryn death confession, losing all of her marbles scene, which was tremendous. So if you missed that, catch out the Baelish of the Littlefinger stream. And yeah.
Yeah. I'm actually asking if you haven't seen that stream. Go. Sometimes it's hard when you go on your page because your videos that come up first are the produced ones. But take that second to go to that tab that says live and just personally do me a favor and just watch it because it's one of my favorite streams ever. Come on, Littlefinger. It's just so good.
The whole
But yeah.
stream was good. The performance was great. And there was a lot to get into with Littlefinger. We went like 3.5 hours hardcore.
We did. And there was still more to say. But that's just the world that George R.R. Martin has written where you could talk for that long.
Yeah, and mostly you used restraint. You did not defend and justify Littlefinger as much as you threatened to. So I appreciate that.
I thought I did a good job of defending my baby daddy, but yeah. Almost
Hey,
as much
Nani
as
Nani. Greyways Tim
Nani.
says, hey, Nani Nani in the background.
Oh, hey Tim. I'm hearing your singing voice with that. Hey, Nani Nani.
So Brian Price, yes, I think I got into this in the last Melisandre Secrets video and also in the John Iceberg. I do think I have long said that Ghost will be sacrificed to raise John. I now think it is likely that he will be fire whited, that Ghost will be a white wolf. So not just the white colored wolf, but the whited wolf.
Nice. That's a
I
good
think
one.
there's a lot of foreshadowing for it. Yeah, actually.
Did you see the
Kujal the
comment?
Unclever, aka A News Travel Blog. How's it going? And yes, I do need to drop Discord links. I will do that when the stream is over.
Yeah, I was about to say. I'm in the Discord.
Nice.
Your Discord.
Yes. Be welcome. Come on in. Make a mess.
a good
Everyone's
one.
nice. There you go. Ulf the White. Yeah, there is. We'll have to talk about Ulf the White symbolism when we do the Dragon Lord symbolism. Because, yeah, the name is very symbolic. But, all right, guys, because it's Ulf Hednar, like the Wolf Warriors. So, Ulf the White. There's probably some John foreshadowing. John's going to become a drunk. He's going to have a drinking problem. No.
Wow.
That's not
I was
it.
going to say, 'cause I never saw a connection between Ulf the White and any First Man people. But if you're saying that there's another person, Ulf,
Well, it's parallelism. So the word Ulf is from Ulfhednar, which is the wolf version of a berserker. So the Viking berserkers were bear warriors. They lived in the woods and they wore bear skins and maybe took psychedelics and just went crazy. There's a wolf version of that. They're called Ulfhednar. And that's what the Starks are. George is borrowing from that mythology a lot with Jon and the Starks. When Jon rages out and like blacks out and like beats the crap out of someone and then he's like, oh, what was I doing? That's the berserker rage that he's doing. So Ulf the White is, yeah, I think there is some parallelism, but I looked at it a long time ago and I don't remember. So I will have to go back over that. Please let me end the stream though. Thank you. I love you guys. And I will see you this week with a video and next Sunday.